My wife laughed so hard last night. I've been showing her TikTok clips of Jim Gaffigan, and she finds him. We don't watch comedians.
Right.
She's like, "Can we?" And I didn't miss it. I had it on the other TV. I probably, I didn't listen to the first half of the first quarter, but I had it on. I don't know if I've ever seen her laugh that hard. I mean, she had tears coming down. I think he's funny.
Did you show her the Bible stuff?
I think that's the one that got. Well, I don't know if it was. No, it was Cinco Hot or something like that from 2017.
Okay.
There was he goes there. He did some Pope stuff that was really funny because it was after Benedict quit. Like, how do you quit that job?
I'm telling you, I am gonna find it after the show. I may find it during the commercial break. The Gaffigan. Okay. Do you know Jesus was a carpenter and he does 3 minutes, which is so good. Okay. Do you think he was a good carpenter? Okay. I mean, funny, clean humor, funny.
Right. That's like Maddie watched it with us. We can sit
Totally. Oh no, you can watch Jim Gaffigan.
That's what's great about it.
Yep.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X on this 12th day of September. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm good. Weird day yesterday. All I wanted yesterday, David, all I was trying to accomplish from the moment this show ended until 8:15 was a nap. That's all I wanted yesterday.
Okay.
Went to lunch with my wife. She had the day off. I even had a beer at lunch trying to accelerate the nap. And lo and behold, my wife was nice enough to go pick the daughter up, and I'm trying to sleep, and you know what happens. The phone starts ringing.
Sure.
A couple of calls, one personal, one for the show, which led me to have to get a hold of you.
Right.
And then it never happened. And I was worried because I wanted to watch the football game. I'm going, this is going to be hard. I'm going to go down mid-second quarter because I didn't get the nap. But I made it until the onside kick failed and went to bed. And the Green Bay Packers have taken down a division champ and a wild card team, and they've beaten the crap out of both. I mean, they have flat out for 2 games, they have dominated 2 teams that we believe are good football teams. And they have dominated your guy, your favorite quarterback in the league so far, looking very good.
Oh, you mean Jordan Love?
I mean Jordan Love.
Yep, he and they are. They look terrific. Absolutely terrific. Now, this just in, I don't think they're going to get to play all 17 games at Lambeau.
No, and they're going to face a defense at some point that will have a little something because Jordan Love's had all kinds of time in the pocket. The linebacking play for the Commanders, almost said the R word, the linebacking play from the Commanders was awful. I mean, this Kraft kid looks like he's good as a tight end, but my goodness, he was open by 5-8 yards several times on big pass plays. So the Washington defense looked slow to me, particularly in the back 7, if you will. Green Bay was excellent once again. Jordan Love, fantastic. A couple of injuries for, they lose a receiver with a broken collarbone. We'll see how that affects them long term. But this tight end looks like he can play. Their offensive line's done a good job. And defensively, they've been fantastic for 2 games. Fantastic.
Dominated the Lions for 3 quarters. Detroit got a few yards and a few points late when it was meaningless. Did the exact same thing to the Commanders. Held Washington to 112 yards through 3 quarters and 3 points. And then, gave up a few yards, a few points when, they're trying to keep the clock moving and not get hurt. So it was a win for the Packers. It was a cover for the Packers. And despite some late worrying, it was an under once again. That's what, 13-4 under so far this year in the NFL?
I believe that's right.
Because the over-under last night
in front of me
was in the 47 range.
Yes.
So it stayed under.
And the favorite one, which makes them, not great, but 10-7. Home team's 9-7 because we had the Brazil game.
There you have it. Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday. Hey, I had an idea for a poll question, and you apparently liked it because I think you've been busy typing. Usually that involves a poll question.
Oh, yeah. Poll questions. David, we're rolling this morning. There's already 2 up. I'm working on number 3 right now.
Wow.
Let's go. Let's effing go, Tom Brady.
I was going to say, all right, Tom Brady, Pete Alonso, it just, you name it. That has caught on, by the way. Even, and I know you got tired of watching it, but man, all the tennis players at the U.S. Open, that was all of them.
It's a great battle cry because what word do most men, and I don't care if any of the women on the tennis side or in the WNBA, or this is not a sexist comment, but all men, and I can't speak for women because, well, my parts are different, but all men love the F word. It's a great word.
Well, and I think in the heat of the athletic moment there, okay, there's a lot of women that like it too. They have no problem going LFG. Sometimes it's just LG. Sometimes it is.
Hey.
But, they have no problem going LFG.
To the 4 ladies listening right now, 21,000 on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. Want to hear how many times you let the LFG go? I know Paula does. There's not a doubt in my mind. She's an avid listener every day. Paula lets it rip.
She just
not in front of the grandkids.
Not in front of the grandkids. Exactly. It's only for home games. Okay. So lets it rip for home games, not road games. Right. Absolutely. But I had an idea for a poll question. You liked it, which, we're already off to a great start. So, Mark, the Dolphins held a players-only meeting.
Are you, David, you and I communicated for business yesterday. We didn't talk sports because we had some crap to do. When you saw that, because I was home all day and I paid pretty good attention to X in my sports websites, flipping about every hour, just what's going on, what's happening. Obviously, there's been a lot of news, and I'm not going to get into that on this show, but I was on social media yesterday. I was on websites yesterday. When I saw that, my mouth dropped. Like I was damn near speechless. A closed door players only meeting after one game.
Right. Now, yes, it does show that they care. Okay. All right.
About what? I have no idea. Sorry, I had to do a Rodney there.
My first reaction, though, was, oh, they're cooked. If there's this much concern after one game against the Colts, they're cooked.
Well, not just concern and cooked, David, because what really got me is that they then talked about what the meeting was about. Okay, so the closed door meeting, let's just hold it there and hold your thoughts about a team having a closed door players only meeting after one game, and then speaking to the media about the meeting, saying we are trying to let them know to ignore the outside noise.
Right, so we're going to tell you about the inside noise.
Oh my goodness. And here's my question to you, David. And I know he's been on the team for an hour and a half, but they didn't talk to him. I saw some comments, and I can't remember the name, one of the linebackers. But Minkah Fitzpatrick's been on really good football teams and consistent winning football teams, obviously playing for the Steelers throughout his career.
And before that, obviously, had a lot of winning in college at Alabama, right?
Part of me can't believe that he allowed it. And I'm being serious here. If he's the new leader of that defense or one of the leaders, really? A closed-door meeting on September 11th when the season started an hour and a half before that?
Now, apparently the meetings took place on Tuesday the 9th. So it took a couple days for the media to find out about it. And I think the linebacker you're referencing is Jordan Brooks.
Yes, thank you.
He addressed the media. Yes. But I just wanted to get, whether it's Dolph fans or it's just anybody's reaction, okay, to a players-only meeting after one game. All right, yeah, rally the troops. Going to lead to a W. Or, oh boy, they're cooked.
And I am firmly in the oh boy category. Even if they beat the Patriots, I'm in the oh boy category.
You know, Tua's never lost to the Patriots. He's 7-0. Never lost to him. Then again, Mark, the Colts don't win on opening day.
Bingo.
Hadn't won in 12 years.
Right.
So,
bingo.
But I just, trying to make Dolph fan feel better. Okay, this is Tua's team. Okay, this is magic. I don't know.
I don't either, because Miller and Moulton had been two of the biggest Tua supporters throughout his career.
Yep.
What I saw week one went beyond concerning, went to, oh my goodness.
When week one led to, when can we get out of this contract?
Yeah. To me, I'm looking, Denver cut Russ and everybody went, you can't do that with the cap hit. And we were included on that. What are you doing? You're sacrificing a season. Okay. I don't know what to tell you, Miami. Couple more performances like that by Tua. Start looking how to cut the cord now.
One of the comments in the Twitch chat room. Okay, the team meeting was, hey, everybody get their checks? You did? You're good? We're good? Okay.
Cash them. So a terrific game, a terrific start. Green Bay, if you're a Packer fan, hey, they look really good right now. And that's fun to me because the Eagles were the clear favorite in the NFC, and we've watched the Packers 2 times, and we're going, okay, all right, I can get into this. But I think a really sneaky good college football Saturday, and then not a must-win, but that Chiefs-Eagles game. Are the Chiefs going to go 0-2 to start the season? They're banged up. Rice suspended. They've lost Worthy, the receiver. He's hurt. So the Chiefs are vulnerable. How are they going to react backed into a corner? The Lions lost badly. They host their old coach, their offensive coordinator, and the Bears. The Lions desperate to not go 2-0. So some big weeks in the NFL, and I think a really sneaky good college football week, particularly in the SEC.
The Chiefs are a home underdog. When is the last time that Patrick Mahomes was starting that the Chiefs were an underdog at home? That's what jumps out at me.
Miller and Moulton. Great show lined up for you. Lee Sterling makes his picks top of the 7 o'clock hour. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
So I asked him at Floor Meisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, Installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Cortec. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters. Floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for
This is Miller and Moulton.
All poll questions are up, David.
Okay.
All right, there's that. Let's get this ready. You know, go Raiders. I appreciate you trying the Cuban at Publix, but in Southwest Florida, really? You go to Publix for a Cuban? Publix. I mean, the gas station at the corner of Ben Hill and Corkscrew makes a better Cuban. Much better, by the way. Milano's, ooh, fantastic. And by the way, if you have to ask to get a Cuban pressed, you're not at the right place to get a Cuban. It's just me. Just saying. I'm relaxed. I'm just saying, bro. That's all. Just saying.
Ooh, we're just a step away from butter.
That's what I needed. How did I miss that?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes after the hour, Lee Sterling will make his picks for the week. He had a great beat for a win. He had a beat for a loss last week. We'll review them with Lee and get his picks for this week. We'll make ours as well coming up about an hour from now. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Pat Kirwan later in the show as well. So 3 poll questions, lay them on us.
All right, we start with your Miami Dolphins. What effect after one loss will the Dolphins team meeting have this week versus New England? Rally the troops and they win, or they are cooked and a loss? And then a simple one. Who you got? The U minus 17.5? The South Florida Bulls plus 17.5. And then we go to the SEC asking which team has the best chance as an underdog to pull off an upset this week. There are 4 games, good games. All, I think the Gators have the biggest number of the teams that I picked. Vandy over South Carolina, that line's gone from 5.5 to 3.5 for what it's worth. Tennessee over Georgia, that line stayed pretty steady at 3.5. Arkansas over Ole Miss, that is Bud Elliott's upset special of the week. Or the Gators going to Baton Rouge and taking down LSU. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X to vote.
And for the record, at one point this week, you could get the Gators in 9, some places even 9.5, but it seems to have settled at 7.5. And Arkansas early in the week was more than a touchdown underdog, 7.5 to 8 range, and now it seems to have settled at 6.5. But we're asking straight up, what's the upset this week in the SEC? There you have it. I'm taking the points, by the way, with the Bulls. Okay.
I'm not. I took the U. I think the physicality of the 2 teams that they've played, and that was a hard fought game against Florida. That was a tough,
sure was,
round out football game, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
And I think Miami's better than Florida at the line of scrimmage, and I just think South Florida's worn out. Put it this way, David, the team that scores last in that game will cover. If I lose this game, it's a late Bulls score to take it from, 21 to 14 type game. That's my opinion. I think the U will kind of armbar them a little bit this week because Florida didn't score touchdowns last week. They blew that game in a lot of different ways, and it was by not getting the ball in the end zone and having to settle for field goals because of all the penalties they had when they were in very good scoring position. And I don't think Miami will make those same mistakes.
There are 2 games this week that I'm contemplating, should I go the other way of where all the talk is, where all the public sentiment / momentum seems to be. South Florida has deservedly gotten a lot of pub this week. A lot of national attention this week with national writers doing in-depth stories about Golish and the program. And you have to think that someone somewhere in South Florida, and I don't mean in Tampa with the Bulls, I mean in Miami with the Canes, has said, boy, these guys are getting all the attention. We're top 5 in the country.
We beat Notre Dame.
Nobody's talking about us. And so I'll bet you that'll be the Canes' chip on their shoulder, while the Bulls remember that Miami goat rodeoed them last year, dominating them in the second half. But the other one, Mark, is a game that I know you've got circled because you think it's the ACC championship game, Clemson and Georgia Tech. And seemingly, as the week has gone on, 2 things have happened. A, the betting money is, even though Haynes King is a game time decision, that, yeah, he's playing for Georgia Tech. And B, Mark, the money's coming in on the Yellow Jackets. It's down to 2.5.
Right. I know.
So
I know.
Basically, people are saying, here's your upset. This is going to throw the ACC on its collective ear, if you will. And it's like I feel Clemson on the road at Georgia Tech is almost like the Chiefs at home against the Eagles. Okay? Really? We're going to put a stake in somebody this week? They're done. They're not the same. Are you sure? Are you sure? Or are you just hoping?
By the way, looked it up during the break, David. The last time the Chiefs were a home underdog was week 6 in the 2022 season when they hosted Buffalo.
Huh. All right.
So it's been a bit. It's been a bit. And it doesn't happen very often. And for the record, you couldn't get me to take Kansas City in the points this week.
Ooh.
Couldn't do it.
Ooh, look at you. Look at you. I'm trying to think. I'm looking at because I got my stuff written down. And by the way, we're not sticking to 5.
Oh, there was never a doubt. See, David, I have mine written down, and I have a spot for you and a spot for Lee, and I screwed up because I always put Lee's games above mine and yours to the right of Lee's, meaning I have the whole right column of my page
Right.
in case you want to make 26 picks.
Right.
In a hurry this morning to get this done and last week's record and season record, so we're very transparent with our picks, I put yours above mine. I'm afraid there could be arrows because I only have 11 rows for you.
You'll be fine.
Woo.
You have enough space.
Woo.
You do.
That's good. That's good.
I mean, I didn't go bat blank crazy. I just, I kept with alliteration. It may just not be a Fab 5. It could be a Super 7, an Elite 8. Something along those lines.
Excellent. Way to go. That's the way to chasing in week 3, everybody.
Which is more desperate? Moulton chasing in week 3, the Dolphins holding a team meeting after week 1.
Another good poll question right there.
C, both are cooked.
And in true Miller and Moulton fashion, both of us yesterday throughout the show, and particularly at the end, because you can go to youtube.com/Miller and Moulton, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, and watch any show that we've ever done. They're all there. Miller and Moulton, a perfect 2-0 last night, both picking the Packers, laying the points.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
But that doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
Right. No. Oh, no. Picks that don't count. I'm 4-0. No, money. Money.
I didn't tell you 5-0 because you said you got to take the points in the Iowa State game, and I faded you and I lost.
The hook. You got
damn
always,
hook.
The hook with Iowa is never. I mean, it's Iowa. They don't score a lot of points. You need the hook. Got to depend on the hook with Iowa.
It's funny. There's one other game I was looking at, and I didn't put it on my sheet, but it's the hook that got me because Wisconsin, Alabama had been 20.5 most of the week. It's now 21.5. And it's like, really 3 scores and a hook? I don't know if I can do that. But I think Alabama wins and wins comfortably in that one. It would be interesting if they lose to Wisconsin. Oh, boy. I mean, there are certain programs that you look at differently right now. They're one of them.
Oh, come on. Alabama at home, a 3-touchdown favorite, and you're saying, how would we look at them if they lose? How would we look at them if they lose? Does Kalen DeBoer make it off the field?
Right.
As coach, as a 3. When's the last time Alabama's lost at home as a 3-touchdown favorite? Oh, no, this fan base emotionally. I don't know if this fan base emotionally could handle a 10-point win against Wisconsin.
I'm with you. Miller and Moulton getting ready for what we think's a sneaky good Saturday, a solid Sunday, And we hope a great Friday. Lee Sterling in the starting five. That's next. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
So I asked him at Floor Meisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available, delivery's always available. And tell them Floor Meisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floor Meisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floor Meisters. FloorMeisters.com.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell them Miller and Moulton sent you. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Great compliment, Puck. They are. I've known those. They've worked with me for years back when I worked here. Father-son team. Son's now taken over, and they've always had a wonderfully friendly group of people that have worked there. I think they've had a lot of them for a long, long time, and that's a testament to a good boss or good bosses. So my wife needed some things done around the house. And we had friends over, one of who's a general contractor. So she went to him to get the things done around the house. Brilliant move on her part, because I can't do them and I don't want to do them and I don't care. And so the projects all got completed yesterday and she was all set up, everybody ready to go. And except for like one thing. And she starts asking me about it. I looked at her. I said, why are you telling me this? Well, you can, no, you text the general contractor that you got all this set up for and ask him what he thinks we should do. Because I don't know, nor do I care. Unbelievable. George made 2 bogeys on the back. He was 2 under at the turn. Got 1 back. He's 1 under. I don't know where that puts.
I thought I put him like 54.
T51.
Like okay.
T51. Shoot another 1 under. You play on the weekend. Puck.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. And that's when Lee Sterling joins us for his weekly visit, makes his picks, break down some games, college and pro. Lee Sterling in 22 minutes here on Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan in an hour in 22 minutes on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Well, the football weekend's already underway. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
Brought to you in part by Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, inside the Doubletree by Hilton Hotel and the Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers. Thursday night football, Packers dominated the Commanders by more than the final score of 27-18. They led 14-3 at the half, 17-3 going to the fourth. They held the Commanders to just 77 yards in the first half, 112 yards through 3 quarters. Washington scored 15 points and doubled their yardage output in 1 quarter alone, but it was mostly garbage time. Jordan Love, 2 touchdown passes. However, Packers wide receiver Jaden Reed, broken collarbone, out 6 to 8 weeks. Austin Eckler, and this could be career-ending for a running back who's got a little mileage on him, feared torn Achilles for the Commanders. But 27-18 Green Bay, they're 2-0. Commanders are 1-1.
2 things. First, on the Eckler, people in Washington are now questioning why did they trade Robinson when they did that, the young running back that they traded before the season. But you're right, mostly garbage time. But the key Packer drive, they made it a 1-score game, and the Packers marched right down the field and said, yeah, no chance, you guys.
This
No
game's over. This game's over. We should be up by more than what we are, and we're going to put this sucker away right now. Other NFL notes, as we've mentioned, and it's one of our 3 poll questions, the Dolphins held a players-only meeting Tuesday, we found out yesterday. And according to linebacker Jordan Brooks, it was to keep the team together 1 game into the season. Are you impressed that they care so much and the veteran leaders are, saying, hey, don't worry, relax, we got this? Or are you like, uh-oh, rent don't buy, this is going to get ugly? So it's our poll question, basically. Pick which side you're on. Haven't heard of many players-only meetings 1 game into the season. NFL investigating allegations of domestic violence by Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill. Hill's estranged wife, who has filed for divorce, alleges 8 separate incidents of domestic violence. The day before she filed for divorce, police were called to their residence because of an alleged domestic violence incident. Hill vehemently denies the accusations as nothing more but an attempted shakedown. And Mark, you know me in the halls of fame.
Oh, I knew it. Here we go. Get him.
The senior committee has nominated 162 players for consideration. The senior committee is anybody whose career ended before 2000. That group of 162 will ultimately be narrowed down to 3 finalists who then will be voted on to see whether or not they're in the next Pro Football Hall of Fame class.
All right, just quickly on that, because there were 3 quarterbacks on that list. Plunkett, Doug Williams, Ken Anderson. David, this is your wheelhouse, not mine. If you can only pick one out of those 3, Doug Williams, Jim Plunkett, Ken Anderson, who would go to the Hall of Fame?
Plunkett. But I actually...
That was easy for you, because I know Ken Anderson, a lot of people feel he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes. An outstanding quarterback. They had the 1 year where they went to the Super Bowl, lost to the Niners, and the Bengals played in the Steelers' shadow all throughout the 70s, and Ken Anderson was really good. You know, there was greasy Bradshaw Stabler, who dominated the quarterback position in the AFC, and a lot of people feel that Ken Anderson got overlooked while he played. He's one of those, and we don't do the numbers game in football. He's one of those, Mark, that 20 plus years after his career, people looked at his numbers and said, wow, really? He was that good? Herschel Walker, by the way, is one of the 162.
So is Roger Craig. This is a hell of a list. It really is.
And you know me, your buddy Mike Ken, okay, but my guy, the late Bob Kuchenberg, and Joe Jacoby. You gotta be kidding me. Ask Lawrence Taylor whether he should go in. And LT beat him a few times, but just ask Lawrence Taylor whether or not Joe Jacoby should go to the Hall of Fame. Enough already. He was the best lineman on the Hogs, for goodness sake.
I just poked the bear, everybody. He could do 4 hours by himself on this.
This is off the top of my head. I don't have any of these guys written down. Don't get me started on Tommy Nobis. College football. Wake scored the first 2 touchdowns. And then, you know, you threw a pick 6, and NC State said, okay, I know this wasn't a long road trip, but we're good now. We settled down. They scored the final 20 points of the game, and they beat Wake and covered, because they were laying 7.5, 34-24. That late field goal was big. Baseball. By the way, NC State 3-0. I didn't beat anybody good, but they are 3-0. Toronto shut out Houston 6-0. Kevin Gausman with a 2-hitter. That's right. He pitched all 9 innings. It's still allowed. Oh, my goodness. Jay's lead in the East is 3. We'll get to that in a moment. But, Mark, the Astros are now tied for first.
Yes. Yes, they are.
Seattle blew a 4-0 lead. It went to extras tied at 4. They had to score in the 11th to stay alive. They had to score at least 1 in the 12th to stay alive. They ended up scoring twice in the 12th to beat the Angels 7-6. Seattle tied with Houston. Texas just 2 games back for both the division and the final wild card spot. Oh, by the way, in the loss, Mike Trout, who hadn't homered in 28 games, hit career homer number 399. That means Mike Trout and Dale Murphy, right? No, K-Line at 399, Murphy 398. But Mike Trout, homer number 399. Yankees bombed the Tigers 9-3. Judge hit 2 homers. President Trump was at the game. He was in New York for September 11th ceremonies. He stayed, took in the Yankees game. Judge with the 2 homers ties Joe DiMaggio on the all-time home run list, 4th all-time on the Yankees list. Gehrig, Mantle, and Ruth are next. Hello. The Guardians get a 2-run homer in the 8th and beat the Royals 3-2. Cleveland 3.5 back for a wild card. Kansas City 5. I have a feeling you can put a fork in the Royals.
I think you can too. And Cleveland's running out of time because Texas and Seattle don't seem to be losing.
No, Seattle's won 6 in a row.
And Texas 5, I believe.
So the Mets score 4 runs in the top of the first on 5 hits and then don't get another base runner the rest of the game. Jesus Luzardo with 8 innings. Phillies rally because, well, they're playing the Mets. 6-4 Philly. They swept the 4-game series. Their magic number to clinch the East is 5. By the way, the Phillies only 2 behind Milwaukee for best record in the National League, but the Brewers do own the tiebreaker. Mets wild card lead. They've lost 6 in a row, down to a game and a half, 1 in the loss column to both the Reds and the Giants. Mets own the tiebreaker on the Giants. Reds own the tiebreaker on the Mets. And check out the Reds' schedule. It's easy the rest of the way. It's easy. The Reds, if you look at the schedules, the Reds may catch a huge break. I think they end the season with 3 against Milwaukee, and Milwaukee may have nothing to play for. I'm telling you right now, if we were doing a show in New York or Ohio, poll question would be, who's going to get the final wild card spot in the National League? And my money wouldn't be on the Mets. San Diego gets a Jackson Merrill homer and a 2-0 win over Colorado. They pick up a half a game on the idle Dodgers. Rays, yeah, they're done. You know, they had that run. They beat the Guardians last Friday. All right, since then, they've lost 5 of 6.
Yeah,
White
you
Sox,
can't lose this. You got to sweep the Chicago White Sox if you're going to be a playoff team.
and instead they lost 2 of 3.
Right.
White Sox beat them 5-1. Orioles swept the Pirates 3-2. Pittsburgh's 6th straight loss. By the way, the Orioles, since May 20th, are 10 games above 500, and yet they're in last place. Marlins get 3 hits and 3 RBIs from Eric Wagaman in a 5-0 win over the Nats. By the way, it was disclosed the Yankees shortstop Anthony Volpe, who's barely above the Mendoza line. Yeah, he's been playing through a torn labrum, a small tear, but still. Suffer a small tear in your left shoulder and tell me how it feels, and then go try to play Major League Baseball. So no surprise.
He's throwing.
Right. Okay. So, oh, by the way, the Pirates loss, that's their 29th losing season in the last 33 years. For those of you of a certain age, since Sid Bream slid across home plate, they've had 4 winning seasons.
Braves win! Braves win! Braves win!
That was during the first Bush presidency, by the way. NCAA is investigating 13 athletes at 6 different schools for alleged gambling rules violations and failure to cooperate. This all involves college basketball. None of the 13 athletes are still at the 6 schools. But there is allegations that these players last year or the year before bet for and against their own teams. The teams being Temple, Arizona State, Eastern Michigan, New Orleans, Mississippi Valley State, and North Carolina A&T. The NHL is reinstating the 5 players that were acquitted in the Hockey Canada trial. They've been out of hockey for almost 2 years. What I don't understand is, since they've been acquitted, why are they not immediately eligible? The NHL is only making them eligible effective December 1st.
Yeah, I don't understand that either, but they are all unrestricted free agents. And the goaltender there is a good player. I mean, you're
Right.
going to take heat if you sign him. I think, to me, David, they're going to be signed by American teams. I just think it would be too tough in Canada with a lot of things that have gone on there. But, the odds are the Panthers end up getting the goaltender.
Well, they need a backup.
Right.
PGA Tour in Napa. 10 of the 12 U.S. Ryder Cuppers are in the event. Canadian Mackenzie Hughes has a one-shot lead. Ben Griffin is in second. Russell Henley, couple of Ryder Cuppers, 2 back. LPGA in Ohio, Nelly Korda on the first page of the leaderboard, still looking for her first win of the year. WNBA's regular season finished last night. The playoff matchups are set. It'll be Minnesota against Golden State in a 1-8 matchup. Mark, the Aces of Vegas ended the season with a 16-game winning streak.
And did anybody notice?
Las Vegas will play Seattle in a 2-7 matchup. Our buddy Semesco and the Atlanta Dream will play the FIVA in a 3-6 matchup. And Phoenix and the defending champions from New York in a 4-5 matchup. The playoffs begin Sunday.
I'm going to give the league a pass for the first part of the playoffs, but I am curious, David, with all the hype and everybody talking about the ratings and the growth of this league with or without Caitlin Clark, which I think is hilarious. I'm curious what their finals ratings will be like. I won't judge them until they get to the finals.
And at 7 minutes before the hour, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories and no judgment, not for now, here on Miller and Moulton.
By the way, Southwest Floridian George McNeil playing in the tournament in Napa shot a 1 under par score yesterday. He's T51. George about to turn 50, getting a tournament in before he tries to make it on the Champions Tour. Damn it, George. I never watched the Champions Tour. If he's on the Champions Tour, now I got to pay attention.
That's the perfect tour for him because at most events, they only play 3 rounds as an extra day of fishing. Miller and Moulton, Lee Sterling is next.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, your home for all the football and baseball that September provides, plus a nightly food special. Got bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays, live music Fridays, karaoke Saturdays. Never mind the fact that Shoeless Joe's is going to celebrate Grandparents' Day, National Hot Dog Day, National Cheeseburger Day, all in the month of September. Food and drink specials during every NFL game. Shoeless Joe's, the official home for Ohio State football. Shoeless Joe's, good food, good times, good sports, in the Doubletree by Hilton. Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
So I asked him at Floor Meisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floor Meisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floor Meisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floor Meisters, floormeisters.com.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
Morning, Lee. Lee?
Hey guys, how are you?
Can you hear us?
Turn my mic on.
Okay, all right. You're making me nervous 2 weeks in a row. How are you?
I'm good. How you guys?
Good. Just a reminder, I know you know this, but this is
Yep.
on Twitch and YouTube. So if there's ever a game of the week or a 40-unit play, do not give it out to us live because
Got it.
it's not fair to you and your business.
Well, we actually have a 50-unit game.
Whoa!
So I'm going to text you the game. I was watching the tape and one of the guys that works for me, and within like 10 minutes, we looked at each other. We go down the games together. We watch the games from last week and just think that, oh my God, one team is so much worse than last year. A couple injuries on their side too. And then the other side is so much better.
All right.
Love it.
Okay.
I just sent it to you
And
guys.
we're about we were 71% heading into the season. Did the Baylor win get you to 72?
Yes, it did.
Okay. All right.
Had took 2 overtimes though.
Lee, I'm watching that game for you.
Thank you.
And I had it on because I wanted to watch the game anyhow. And here's, like I told you, I said it last week, the first play of the damn game, they go bomb. It should have been picked.
I know.
He tips it to the guy and it's a touchdown. And I went, that is not how you want your 40-unit play to start. You already told us on the show you had a bad week 1 for your clients. And I'm like, all right, if he gets his 40, particularly a noon Saturday, you get everybody back on board right there.
Right. So
and then it goes to overtime, and I'm just going, all right, they get to a second overtime. Like, we're feeling good. Because once it gets to the third overtime, you got 2.5.
No. So I don't know if you realize this. When they didn't score in the first overtime, SMU, we had won the game because we either kick a field goal or it goes to third overtime.
Yeah.
2 points. So
but I mean, when the second overtime starts, I'm like, all right, but you're right. Once they don't score on the second overtime, I'm like, all right, this is over. But I was feeling for you because I knew you were panicking right there. That is not good.
I don't know if it was me. My 2 daughters were out of their minds here watching the game. So with their boyfriend and husband. So go to YouTube and watch last week's games of the 2 teams that I sent you. That I'm picking against. You'll be like, oh my God. Yeah. There's 4 or 5 touchdowns difference between these 2 teams. Also doing a new show, an hour show that looks like it's going to go national.
Wow.
It's called Picking the Locks. Remember a guy named Mark Benarzik? Now he uses his middle name, Mark James. Used to be in Tampa a while ago. He's in Seattle and pretty skilled gambler too. So we do it.
Here we go.
All right.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
And we begin it every week with Lee Sterling. Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741. Last week, he already had a 40-unit play, and he hit it. He's 72% over the years on 40 and 50-unit plays. And this week, he's got a 50-unit play. Lee has suffered a couple of tough beats on our picks. He's just 4-7. Had the Ravens in his game of the week. Oofta. How are you?
Good, except for that game and the Thursday night game, that Philly game. So had a couple bad beats last week, but you know what? They weren't big plays for me. So there's been some – that game might go down as the best game of the year.
Oh, yeah. Ravens-Bills?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You may be right, Lee. There's no doubt. I love the Saturday slate this week. I think there are a lot of sneaky good games. You only have two of them. They're the ones that involve the teams in Florida, but both big games in and of themselves. The first one in your backyard, the U, taking on South Florida. South Florida's beaten Boise. They beat Florida, albeit Florida stubbed their toe a few times trying to score and settling for field goals that kept South Florida in the game. The U, 17.5-point favorites over South Florida. How do you see it, Lee?
So when I saw this line come out, I'm pretty good at predicting lines. They even laugh about here sometimes. I can go 3 or 4 games in a row where I'm right on the money within half a point. I thought this line was going to come 12, 12.5. 16.5, and it's now up to 17.5. And I'm saying to myself, what am I missing? Then I watched the game, and I'm grading players. How about this? South Florida only had 3 defensive pressures the entire game. None from the defensive line. So I'm saying to myself, wow, they're going to have to bring some linebackers, maybe a cornerback or safety blitz occasionally to get past this really good Miami offensive line. And how good is Carson Beck with a clean pocket? Well, of all the quarterbacks that have played since he started his first game with Georgia, he's number 6. Best passer rating with a clean pocket. I think Carson Beck, everyone's talking about all these other quarterbacks right now, might be playing the best in college football. Seeing the field, making a right decision, and delivering the ball. So it's a bad matchup here for South Florida. I don't know how much they have left in the tank. You know, they might be like last year. You know, they looked good for a half against Miami and then had nothing in the second half when Miami ended up winning 50-15. Their quarterback, Byron Brown, has run 14 and 17 times. Big kid, but he's certainly taken a pounding here. Miami's played him. I think Carson Beck's going to cook. I like Miami here, 34-14. I think they pull away late.
So Lee says lay the 17.5 with the Canes. It's one of our 3 poll questions, by the way. Who you got? You laying the points or taking them? Same deal. One of our 3 poll questions is LSU Florida. Game was in the 9.5 range. It seems to have settled at 7.5. The Gators getting 7.5 in Baton Rouge. What do you think?
Well, I mean, Florida, they're going to have to find a way to win one or a couple of these next 4 games. LSU, Miami, Texas, and Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Billy Napier loses all 4. He won't make it to his 6th loss. So 1-5 would be it for him, I believe. LSU, I think when this schedule came out, this was their circle game, not Alabama. In that game last year, they were leading at the half, and somehow Billy Napier rallied the troops. They end up winning the game. Great second half, 27-16. That knocked LSU out of the college football playoff. So they're going to have to play cleaner. 11 penalties, 103 yards. They're going to have to find a way to get DJ Lagway some better opportunities down the field. Can't just settle for field goals. I think something's wrong with DJ Lagway. He's wearing that white sleeve on his left leg, and he's just not running like before. He missed a couple weeks of fall camp. And LSU's linebackers, that's the difference from 3-4 years ago. Both these coaches are in their 4th year. Their linebackers are as quick as defensive backs. They come up and make plays, don't miss tackles. Death Valley swallows teams if you're not disciplined and you can't execute at a high level here. I think Billy Napier's on borrowed time. Revenge. This is their circle game. Goodbye, Sunbelt Billy here. LSU 30-14.
Wow. Miami had a team meeting after week 1. That is the ultimate sign of desperation. But Tua's never lost to New England. The Dolphins are a 1.5-point favorite this Sunday.
Had his best game last year, 4 touchdowns, and this is desperation. I think Miami's going to throw out the kitchen sink at them. New England may just not be ready for prime time. Everyone talked about how they're going to jump, from winning a couple games to maybe 9 games this year. I don't see it. I think Miami, which I believe is a bottom 5 team in the NFL right now, I don't think any of their cornerbacks would make any rosters in the NFL. They're that bad. But I think they're going to find a way for 1 week before they start having real problems, and maybe they get rid of the GM, their head coach. I like Miami in a shootout here, 35-30.
I think Patriot fans would love to see Drake May and company put up some points. I think they question whether or not they've got the weapons. All right, the Bengals, fortunate to get by Cleveland, 3.5-point home favorites against a team that looked really good last week, the Jags.
They did, and I think the Jags are much improved. Talked about the offensive line. They went from last year, where I spoke to someone on their organization, felt they only had 3 NFL caliber offensive linemen, starters. They feel they got 7 or 8, and that's a big difference. Travis Etienne, people forgot about him. He looks as good as ever. Why? The offensive line. Why is the passing game, I think, going to pick back up? A couple of years ago when they went and played in Cincinnati, Marvin Jones and Dan Arnold were 2 of the starting 3 receivers. Now, Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr., big upgrade. So all starts with the offensive line. Trevor Lawrence looks like he is ready to go again. Shoulder is great. I mean, Liam Cohen, their head coach, who was at Tampa, led Baker Mayfield to a 40 touchdown passing year. So very impressed there. I think the wrong team's favored here. Cincinnati always starts slow. They're going to have a tough time. Jacksonville, wrong team favored, 26-20.
Monday night, Houston and Tampa Bay. Tampa didn't look great until the fourth quarter, and then Baker did Baker things. But this Houston defense, better than what they faced last week in Atlanta. They get back that passer even better. So 2.5, the Texans. What do you think?
They can bring the heat. Will Anderson and mates are really good. And, they were a play or 2 away from winning that game last week. They just had to settle for 3 field goals. I think their offensive line's going to be okay. Not great, but okay. And that might be good enough here. So I think Baker going to be under pressure a lot. I think they're going to have to run the ball more effective. If they want to have a chance here, you want to keep C.J. Stroud and his developing receivers off the field. I like Houston here on Monday night, 27-20.
All right, your game of the week. Once again, another low profile. Nobody's going to see it or talk about a game. Notre Dame and A&M's your game of the week.
Yeah, line's now 6.5 on this game. A lot of money coming in on A&M. Is it the right money? You want to get that game. First 5 callers to call 800-400-9741. We'll give Notre Dame and Texas A&M. And how about this? I feel good about another game tonight. Arizona and Kansas State. I'll give them that game too for free. Both games, just call 800-400-9741. And as you mentioned earlier, we have our 50-unit biggest play maybe in 3 years going on Saturday. You want to get involved, hope to push the record to almost 73% in our lifetime, 73-28 on those. Just go right now, one place, ParamountSports.com.
So Lee's laying the points with the Canes, with the Dolphins, with the Texans, and with LSU. He's taken the 3.5 with the Jags, thinks actually they're going to win straight up. His game of the week, Notre Dame and A&M. He's got a 50-unit play as well. ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741. Lee, have a great weekend. All the best. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, guys.
Lee Sterling joining us once again. You can follow him on X at Paramount Sports. We'll say, okay, and you don't have to wager, okay? His website, He gives out a lot of free information, and he puts a lot of videos on ParamountSports.com. If you're just kind of a football geek, okay, you don't have to wager a penny. It's an entertaining site.
He does I was going to say the same thing. Those videos are excellent. Excellent. He breaks down games, breaks down teams, and gives you a good idea. Gives you a lot, not necessarily who to bet, but gives you a lot of really good information. Like David said, whether you're a gambler or whether you're just someone trying to figure out who's going to win certain games to be the smartest guy in the room, ParamountSports.com. Lee going with Miami, LSU, the Miami Dolphins, the Jags, but says Houston will beat Tampa Bay outright. That means, David, on the other side, do you need to start now, by the way? Because the middle segment is the shortest segment of the hour. Do you need to get a couple picks in before the break so that we can keep things flowing on the show?
It is possible that when the next segment starts that I will already have done 2 minutes and I'll be on like pick 3. It is possible.
No one is buying the team meeting working. Our poll questions, we have 3 of them, but the first one we put up is about the Miami Dolphins team meeting after week 1. What effect will the Dolphins team meeting have this week versus New England? Rally the troops and they win, or they are cooked? Loss. 83% of you early say they are going to lose to New England.
Well, remember, we asked the question about who gets fired first and what have you, McDaniel and Napier. Dolph fan is the angriest fan base maybe in all of professional sports right now.
And that's saying something, because it takes a lot to get the Dolphin fan animated about the Miami sports fan, animated about anything this early in any season. It's one thing if they're falling apart in November and the fan base gets mad. They didn't get into the Panthers until they started winning games. The same thing with the Heat. So I'm with you, David. But we also have the big game between the U and South Florida right now. 2/3 of you are taking the points with the Bulls. And Vandy over South Carolina is the upset that you think will happen in the SEC. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X to vote. You can always chime in on the text line. The Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, 21,000's the number. Miller is the keyword, and you can get a hold of Pelican Roofing for all your roofing needs throughout the state of Florida. 866-9-PELICAN.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters. Floormeisters.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller & Moulton.
Michael, I know you can chat about whatever you want. I've paid attention to this during that whole last segment. You have spent 15 minutes dominating the chat room talking about a receiver who will be eligible for the senior committee in 5 years. Just pump the brakes, dude. Read the room. Wow. Tough part with me and the glasses on and off because I can't read the screen over there with my glasses on, but I need it to read my screen over here. It's an old person dilemma.
Adam, I have no idea what Napier was doing as far as clock management last week. Didn't understand it at all. Now, I get that South Florida ran it down their throat at the end, but when they had 1st and 10 at the 32, they ran it for 12 yards. I get him not calling timeout there. He had 2 left. But when they ran it on 1st down and got 5, you got to stop the clock. He doesn't. Then they run it again, get a 1st down. He's still not stopping the clock. I don't get it. I mean, and I got to admit, the Gator radio didn't mention it at all, which is ridiculous.
You know what, Empire? I'll wait on that one. I hope not, because I like him a lot. I will say I was really impressed 2 games in a row now with Green Bay's defense. And, Micah didn't have a tackle. Micah wasn't even on the score sheet last night. So it's not just the addition of Parsons. That defense is solid. Listen to McLaurin after the game wax poetically about how good Green Bay's defense was last night. Those they had a couple of drops. Receivers weren't open. He didn't have a whole lot of time. But that's right now, that Green Bay team is good. Both sides of the ball.
He may have only had a half a sack last night, but he had like 8 pressures. I mean, he had as quiet a stat sheet game as you could have. While actually, I thought he was pretty forceful.
Okay, and I'm not arguing. I'm just saying the defense is more than him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It's a Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Lee Sterling made his picks last segment. Pat Kirwan to break down the NFL at the top of the hour. All right. You've had back-to-back 2 and 3 weeks. I've started 2 and 8, which is exactly how I started last year. And was 3 and 12 through 3 weeks and ended up above 500 at the end of the year, albeit only slightly. But I'm starting to come back a week early this year, Mark. I am. And I'm doing so with 8 picks. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay. Everybody's going Georgia Tech. I'm going Clemson. Lay the 2.5. Yeah. I think South Florida is going to remember getting boat raced in the second half last year. I do think Miami's going to win. I think the Bulls, however, are going to play it to the whistle. Mark, you said something earlier, which I think is very insightful. Whoever scores last is going to cover. I think the Bulls score last. They lose by 14. They're getting 17.5. Love the half, by the way.
By the way, if you're right and they lose by 14, and I know they have to win the American, but that doesn't take anything away from the Bulls going to the playoffs.
No.
I mean, if they were to end up winning the American and lose by 14 to Miami, people would go, yeah, okay, they're in.
If South Florida's not the best group of 5 team, Tulane is. Tulane's at home. They're only laying 1.5 against Duke. Tulane's better. Give me the Green Wave.
Interesting pick. Duke played Illinois tough for the first half and fell apart in the second half.
They did. Middle Tennessee State is one of the 10 worst Division I football programs in the country this year.
Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Hello.
Nevada has some talent. I saw it on display against Penn State. Give me Nevada at home laying 9.5 against Middle Tennessee State, who got boat raced by a MAC school earlier this year. Speaking of getting beat by MAC schools, it's the backyard brawl. Mark, you know my love for Pitt, West Virginia.
I wanted to play this game. I was thinking about it last night and this morning, and the only reason I backed off was the hook and the rivalry.
I have to admit, I loved this play earlier in the week when Pitt was only a 5.5 point favorite. They're now a 7.5 point favorite. And they're on the road. I'm still going to lay the 7.5. West Virginia's not good. You know my thoughts about Pitt. I think they're the surprise team in the ACC this year. Give me the Panthers laying the points in the backyard brawl. To Sundays. Love Arizona at home, laying 6.5 against Carolina. Glad it stayed under 7. All right. 2 is 7-0 against the Patriots. Do I think the Dolphins are going to go 5-12? I do. Do I think they're going to win Sunday? I do. Give me Tua, lay the 1.5. And I know Lee Sterling took Jacksonville and the points, and he actually thinks they're going to win straight up. Jags haven't started the year 2-0 in 7 seasons, and it doesn't happen this Sunday. Give me the Bengals and lay the 3.5 at home against the Jags. I think the Jags are going to be better. You all know that. But on the road, let me see it first. Give me Joe Burrow and company, who I think will rebound offensively in a big way. The Jags ain't the Browns up front. They're good. They ain't the Browns.
Are you done?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. Didn't know if there was anything else there.
Nope. 5 college, 3 pro.
Nothing, no line on St. Thomas Aquinas tonight on the other coast in high school football?
Hey, I nearly played FAU, FIU, okay?
You
FIU
played
minus
Nevada
2.5.
in Middle Tennessee State.
I saw one of those 2 teams, and the other one's horrible.
All right. I have an American game as well. I spent a lot of money at this school. My son's a graduate. If they start better against NC State, they win that game and still had a chance late. They dominated a bad team last week. Coastal Carolina barely beat was it a terrible Carolina school at Charleston Southern. There it is. Had to come to me and got whooped by Virginia. We know Virginia's a bad team. I'm going to take the Pirates and lay the 7.5 against Coastal Carolina. All right, the rest of these games are a little more relevant. Tennessee's had nothing for Kirby Smart in Georgia. Nothing. He slows that offense down. I don't know if Tennessee will get to 20. Georgia, who's not played well in their first 2 games, I think it's a little bit of a laying in the weeds for this game against Tennessee. Give me the Dogs, and I'll lay the 3.5. Man, I wish I would have bet this game when the week started, because it started at 5. It went to 6. It's dropped to 3.5. But Vandy pounded Virginia Tech. South Carolina struggled. I don't know if it's the most accurate way to read a game, but I like this Vanderbilt team. I like this quarterback. I like this coach. Give me Vandy in an upset. I'll take the 3.5, but I'm telling you now, if you play this, play the money line as well.
Okay, I'm pretty sure just in the 19 years we've been together, You have never picked Vandy in an upset, and you've never taken Vandy and the points in this segment. I'm willing to bet my job you've never taken Vandy and the points in this segment.
Wouldn't take the bet. I'm guessing, and I'm pretty accurate with that you are 100% right, David. Go Commodores. David, we agree. The meeting was senseless, but the Dolphins and Tua beat New England, particularly at Hard Rock. I think Miami wins on Sunday, giving them this false sense of security. They're flying the banners to fire McDaniel, to fire Greer. I know where Dolphin fan is. I don't think they're talked off the ledge with this win, but I think Miami gets the win over New England. I'll lay the 1.5. And I said it earlier, I don't think Kansas City's broken, but I think that they're banged up enough where this is a really tough spot for them. Who the hell's Mahomes going to throw the ball to? Are you depending on Hollywood Brown to go 7 for 114 and a tutty? I'm not. Give me Philadelphia on the road. I'll take the Eagles and lay the 1.5.
Betting Vandy for the road upset, betting against Patrick Mahomes at home getting points. I just want to make sure I heard this correctly.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Yes, you did.
All
I am
right.
4-6 on the year, back-to-back 2 and 3 weeks. Lee, for the record, back-to-back 2 and 3 weeks. David going for the gusto this week.
Yeah.
After an 0-5 start, a 2 and 3 week 2. He's trying to right the ship with 8 games picked.
Yeah.
You need to go on the Hard Rock app. I know you've never downloaded it. I know you've never made a bet on it. I know you have places that you can bet if you gamble, and you do every once in a while.
Uh-huh.
But to me, David, this is a week that you should put $50 in the Hard Rock account and just take $5 and lay all 8. 8-team parlay and let it rip.
Mark, I wouldn't stop at 50. It would be a minimum of 100. I have so many games and bets I want to play this week. It's ridiculous. I did an Elite 8. It could have been an Elite 11. All right. It could have been a terrible 13. I mean, honestly, I got a lot of things spinning in my head right now.
Well, let's just hope the spin for the Dolphins is the right one, because Miller and Moulton's track record when they are both on the same team, let's just say it's less than average. Pat Kirwan, about 30 minutes away. Miller and Moulton on a Football Friday. Thanks so much for listening. Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, Installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Cortec. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters, floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Tampa, Adam? I mean, KC and Pittsburgh are already interested, supposedly. I don't see Tampa. I really don't. That's not a Tampa guy to me, Adam. I no disrespect to what you're saying, but they don't get head cases. And remember the last time they got a head case, what he did. So Kansas City is. But it was funny. I was talking with a diehard Dolphin fan a couple of days ago when I had to leave early. And he, it's so amazing what the fan of a team thinks Tyree or any of their players are worth in a trade. Like, just quickly, everybody, throw out for me, just type in the number. What round pick do you think the Dolphins can get for Tyreek Hill? And I'm with those that say 4. Larry, yours is interesting, the 4 and the 6. But CBW to me, and I know I'm talking to people on both YouTube and Twitch, so if you don't see him, that's why. The 4-5 CBW, I'm with you because you're renting him and cutting him. You cannot keep him on that contract. 100% CBW, 100%. And it makes him very difficult to trade because of that salary. That's the hard part. David, I just asked the audience there. I'm curious and that you're seeing, well, if you scroll back and you don't have to, but people are talking about, Adam said Tyreek to the Bucs. I'm like, they don't need a receiver, but I just said, put in a number. What round pick does Tyreek get? What do you think they can get for Tyreek?
A day 3 pick,
Right.
Highest pick, I think, because of the contract.
Correct.
Unless, and this is where the NFL salary cap is confusing. Like, I don't know. Does his salary, do the Dolphins end up eating that?
I don't think so. No, I mean, some of it they will, because whatever the signing bonus, I think they have to eat, David. That's for sure.
So, I would. I mean, because don't get me wrong, if the Dolphins are eating most of the money, I think the Chiefs could be in play for Tyreek. I do.
For a 4th or better? Like, do you think they could get it? Like, I don't think they could even get a 3rd.
I'd have to look, see what the Chiefs have next year.
Did you get my text?
No. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You want to go heavy college here? Go through some games?
Yes.
We're going to do our picks later, and we do our NFL picks at 9. So
They have 2 4th-rounders. Okay, so my guess is you'd be able to get one of them.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan expected to join us then to talk all things NFL. Thanks so much for being with us. This hour has begun with Lee Sterling making his picks. By the way, Notre Dame A&M is game of the week. That's interesting in and of itself. We just made our picks. Mark sticking with 5. He's very disciplined. Okay, I'm 3 weeks into this, 8. Yep, we're chasing. No doubt about it. That's my equivalent of a team meeting after one game, like the Dolphins.
You know, that brings up an interesting point, David, or an interesting question that I have for you, because you said it yourself. You had your own internal team meeting. And I think it's necessary after starting out 2-8. Is that meeting verbalized, or is it just in your head? Are you driving somewhere, talking to yourself, trying to, because my son has started his own, he went to school at ECU, and he and a buddy do a little ECU podcast on Wednesdays, and they pick their games. And he has started out very much Moulton-esque. And we're talking yesterday, and I've been there. I've felt for him, where he said, I'm doing so badly early that I want to fade myself. And it's so hard because you get a conviction on a game and you're picking badly, and you go, all right, well, I think South Florida is going to cover, so I'll take Miami. Trust me, it's the hardest thing to do. I've gone through 3 or 4 bad weeks where I'm like, I'm going to make my 5 picks, and then I'm just going the other way. And you think to yourself, but this will be the week I break out of it. So what is that self-meeting about your picks like, David?
Mark, it's kind of like a golfer who's developed the shanks. It's very difficult to play through the shanks. All right. That's what it's like getting off to a really bad start every damn year that we do this, seemingly this decade. I can't play through the shanks. Can't play a shank. You can play a slice. You can play a hook. You can't play a shank.
No.
That's kind of where I feel I am right now as a bettor. All right. I'm trying to play through a shank, and yeah, that ball's going in the water or OB. That's how it works. Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought that this is the week I'm going to pick 8 games and then at the last minute flip every pick?
Yes. I almost got there last year, actually, with the 3-12 start. I almost came up with a Super 7 and said, this is how I like it, so I'm going to go the opposite way. Yes.
All right. We'll talk a lot of football. That's all we do. It's obviously a football Friday, but I'm excited. And I think I've worn David down because David has become Big Ten David this year because that's the conference that he works in. So he pays a little more attention to that schedule, and the Big Ten schedule sucks this week. It does.
A 3rd week in a row, by the way, it sucked. Congratulations, Big Ten. You're doing a hell of a job for your television partners. You really are. Because you're making $1 billion a year. It's good to see you don't give a rat's about any of them.
But despite the Big Ten not having a meaningful game, there are a lot of interesting football games. Starts right at noon. Clemson and Georgia Tech. David going with Clemson. By the way, if you listen to Bud Elliott, if you don't trust Miller and Moulton, Bud Elliott leaning Clemson hard on this game as well. Still saying that Clemson at the line of scrimmage, much better, in his opinion, than Georgia Tech. My biggest worry for the Yellow Jackets in this game is the health of King. I'm convinced he's going to play, but King's one of the best two-way quarterbacks, if you will, that there is in college football. I think he throws it pretty well, and he can do anything with his legs. If he's banged up, I worry about that aspect of his game against what's a really good, at least on, and you can't knock what Clemson's done defensively. LSU had a great fourth quarter against them, but Clemson's defense has been solid.
Here's my curiosity about Georgia Tech. It's my same curiosity about South Florida. A lot of their leading rushers are their quarterbacks. Can they get any kind of running game from a running back, or are they going to be so dependent on King and Brown at Georgia Tech and South Florida to produce running the ball? Because I don't think against Miami and Clemson that a quarterback being the leading rusher can beat them.
Just like last night, to flip to the game last night, there was a spy for Daniels all night long.
Right.
All night. Green Bay said, we can cover your receivers. We're not worried about anybody else running the football. We're not going to let you beat us. And he didn't.
It's one of the things we talked about, that if the Giants could ever get good, all right, that Carter, who they drafted from Penn State, is actually athletic enough that he can spy Hurts and spy Daniels. That's what Micah brings to the equation as well.
There's a game, and I wasn't going to play it, but if I were someone playing first quarters or first halves, am I nuts to think Northwestern can cover a first quarter they're not going to beat Oregon. They might get blown out, but it's a noon start in Chicago. That's 10 a.m. for the Ducks.
9 a.m. Right.
No,
No, you're right. 10 a.m.
Central
to Chicago. My bad.
You can go presidential references. Don't you mess with me on time zones.
Yeah, it's true. My bad.
But I wonder if Northwestern, at the end of the first quarter, if it's 7-3, if you know what I mean.
Well, here's what I wonder, because of what Mike Gundy said last week. Oregon was really fired up for Oklahoma State. I'm curious. It's a conference game. I'd like to think Oregon would be fired up, but Mark, you're right. If you're going to play something here, don't you think there's a chance of a sleepy Oregon start? Okay, now Oregon's going to boat race them.
Right.
At the end.
Yes.
But the first 15, 20 minutes could be a sleepy start to this thing.
The Pitt, West Virginia game, David has Pitt. The only reason I didn't play it was the hook. And I love the backyard brawl. 3:30 start for that one. That's one of the great rivalries in college football. You and I are both so happy these two teams are playing one another. And the fact that Rich Rod's back at West Virginia, he knows this rivalry as well as anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're any good, but they're going to be jacked up and they're at home. It's always a fun game to watch. Georgia and Tennessee. Now, I picked the Dogs because Kirby has been so successful against Heupel and the Volunteers. But Tennessee's at home. If there's a game the Vols circled, isn't this the game?
Game day is going to be there. Candace Parker, by the way, the guest picker, she's already released a video saying, obviously, I'm picking Tennessee. For what it's worth, Tennessee has not beaten Georgia since Barack Obama was president.
And they play every year.
It's the 2016 season. Tennessee hit a Hail Mary to Jawan Jennings to beat Georgia. Dogs have won 8 straight since.
Wasn't that the game that Georgia scored late to take the lead and then Tennessee came back and threw the Hail Mary? I mean, it was if I'm remembering this right, wasn't that just an unbelievable fourth quarter? Did you do that game?
Oh, yes, we did.
I thought so.
Eason threw a 46-yard touchdown with 10 seconds to go. Georgia gets a 15-yard penalty because one of the players took his helmet off. So the Dogs were kicking off from like their own 20, and Tennessee was able to return it near midfield, then get a penalty on top of it. So Tennessee was throwing the ball from the 43-yard line on the Hail Mary. But yes, Mark, 2 touchdowns in the final 10 seconds of the game. Okay, it's funny. I just watched the highlight of it last night. So with 10 seconds to go, the Tennessee fans are doing the turtle. Okay, and then 10 seconds later on the clock, the Georgia fans are doing the turtle.
That was in Athens, right?
It sure was.
Yeah, my son was at the game.
One of the great calls that Gary and Vern had. Gary pointed out before the Hail Mary that Tennessee has tall wide receivers and Georgia has smaller defensive backs. All right. And then He hits the Hail Mary, and Vern gives it 2 enthusiastic Jawan Jennings. And then he lays out for a minute. And then he simply says, boy, I sure am going to miss this.
For you, David, I had to do this. Since you told me you were going to pick the game, I need to know on the record, because this is a pick sure to be correct, because he did not put it in his 8 picks. There isn't one of you that cares about this game. Not one of you. Even alumni from either school. FAU, FIU. It's at FIU, and they're laying 2.5.
FIU did play Penn State, okay, kind of tough last week. They really did. They hung around. They didn't get absolutely boat raced. They just got, methodically beaten. So, do I lay the 2.5 at home with FIU? I think I would.
Ole Miss and Arkansas. Bud Elliott calling for an outright upset in this game. It opened at like 9, 8.5. It's down to 6.5. 7:00 game, home for Ole Miss. I just don't know about Arkansas. And I know the quarterback for Ole Miss didn't look great against Kentucky, and Arkansas about the same level as Kentucky, but it's home for Ole Miss. I do think they cover, and probably a late cover in this one, but I just don't know if Arkansas can score enough to keep up.
I think they can. I like their quarterback. All right. I'm with Bud. Okay. I'm with Bud. Okay. We'll put it this way. Of the 4 games that we put in our poll question for the upset, I actually like Arkansas beating Ole Miss more than you like Vandy beating South Carolina.
Notre Dame and A&M. 6.5 point spread for those that are interested. I would take Notre Dame. I would probably lay the points. You and I both liked CJ Carr against Miami. He got better as the game went on. Think about it. It was his first start against a quality opponent, and he got better, and he didn't look like a freshman from a redshirt freshman from a toughness standpoint. He looked like he belonged out there. I think they take care of A&M.
It's really difficult, and I know it's unfair to do this to Mike Elko and A&M, but it's really difficult to pick A&M in a big game. Never mind a big game on the road. They've pulled some upsets at College Station. Manziel did go into Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama, but how many times has Texas A&M in the last 25 years gone on the road and beaten a top 10 team? And I know, did Notre Dame fall out of the top 10, or are they still in it?
No, they're in the top 10.
Yeah, this may be unfair of me. This 2025 A&M team doesn't deserve this. But until A&M, it's why I picked the Bengals against the Jags this week. Until this group of Jaguars go on the road and beat a quality team, how can you pick them? It's kind of how I feel about A&M, Mark, and I'm with you. All right. CJ Carr is going to be more than just fine. He's going to be good. In fact, I also love that Notre Dame's had 2 weeks to prepare for this.
Yeah, I like the Irish in this game. Probably should have picked him. You made the point about when's A&M had a big road victory. Well, when's the last time the Gators have gone and beaten a ranked team, a top 10 team, a top 5 team on the road?
I will say this. They have no problem going to Baton Rouge and winning. I mean, they've gone to Baton Rouge far more often than, they play them every year. I know they have the unbalanced scheduling right now, but, they're still playing LSU every year. Mark, Florida's gone to Baton Rouge and won far more often. Almost at the Alabama clip. Not quite, okay, because Nick had a run there where he beat them like 5 in a row. But Florida does really well against LSU. And the road team does surprisingly well in this annual game.
And then South Carolina and Vanderbilt. The Gamecocks are a 3.5 point favorite. I like Vandy. They can score. I don't think South Carolina defensively is that good, particularly at the line of scrimmage.
It's very dangerous, but I know what you did. You did the comparative score thing. They each have a common opponent, right?
Right.
and Vandy whooped them more than South Carolina did. So, all right. Good luck. Vandy on the road. Vandy on the road. That will be today's sign of the apocalypse. If that happens on Saturday, you're like, man, what is going on in the world these days?
By the way, just a couple of Big 12 games. They don't play big opponents, but keep an eye on what Texas Tech does this week. I think they've got a pretty good squad, and they'll be in contention for the Big 12 title when it's all said and done. The text line's 21,000. Pelican Roofing of Florida text line 866-9-Pelican statewide. Pelican Roofing of Florida. David, about your picks, we received a couple of texts. Someone says, "Oh, when you talked about the Shanks, is he the David Duval of picks?" Hey, David, don't change your betting strategy. You are making me bank. Carl from Punta Gorda. Miller and Moulton, keep the texts coming. We switch gears to the NFL with Pat Kirwan. He's our expert, and he's next. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters. Floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, your home for all the football and baseball that September provides, plus a nightly food special. Got bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays, live music Fridays, karaoke Saturdays. Never mind the fact that Shoeless Joe's is going to celebrate Grandparents' Day, National Hot Dog Day, National Cheeseburger Day, all in the month of September. Food and drink specials during every NFL game. Shoeless Joe's, the official home for Ohio State football. Shoeless Joe's, good food, good times, good sports in the Doubletree by Hilton. Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-Pelican. That's 1-866-9-Pelican. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hello, Mark.
Good morning, Pat.
How are you doing?
Good. Got the kids to school on time, huh?
Not all of them. I have 3 more sitting here waiting for 8:30, and they're quite happy that I can't go till 8:30.
Oh, are they going to be late?
Yeah, and they're very happy.
They're very happy.
Yeah. I said one I had to drop off and then come back here, do this, and the other guys are getting dropped off by their dad in about 5 minutes. And I said, I can't take them till 8:30, and I could hear them cheering in their background.
That's awesome. That's so
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I said, yeah, well, I don't think I'll feed you ice cream, but I think we can have some Twizzlers or something while you're waiting for me. I left that.
Hey, just
bag on.
curious. Everybody's all over the Tyreek trade. And I just asked our audience, and I have it in my head right now. If whoever's interested in Tyreek, I don't know if he's tradable. What round would you be able to get? 4th or 5th?
Yeah, I think with him, because the draft's not coming. We've talked about this a lot. You got to do an if trade with him.
Okay.
And, so let's start it out with a 5th that goes to a 4th if he catches 50 balls. It goes to a 3rd if he, gets to the Pro Bowl. You could make a ladder up.
Gotcha. Now, how does the contract, because he's getting cut by the Dolphins. Everybody knows that. How much of that contract would they have to eat by trading him? The whole signing bonus, obviously, right?
Well, there's two things. How much money do they owe him? And then how much cap space, and how are they going to, beat up the cap space on him? So, yeah, if, you just look at his deal, I'll look at his Tyreek Hill right here. And so you just go, okay, how much signing bonus is going to bang the cap? Because cutting a guy is the same as trading him. You got to eat all that stuff. And there's nothing to worry about. Well, yeah, there is. So they have not paid off $6.5 million of the signing bonus, another $6 million of a restructured bonus. That's $12 million. Make it $13 million. You'd be out from under that roster bonus, which, by the way, I better check that. 2025 per game. Yeah, it's a per game bonus, so you'd be out from under that one. And if you cut him, you're going to have that hit right there. That's $13 million. I don't believe his salary is guaranteed. It's not. So you'd be $13 million off that thing.
Okay, so then that contract's not guaranteed. So the next team isn't, but they're still stuck with that contract if they keep him, right? So they're just renting him.
Yeah. So he was on the opening day roster. So that makes his salary fully guaranteed. Even if it wasn't before, it just becomes fully guaranteed. So that's $10 million. You divide 18 into 10 million. That's his month, his weekly check.
Right.
And so you've only paid one of them. If you pay two of them, then you still got 16 left. So let's call that 8 million there, 8.5 million plus 13.
Right. It's 550,000 basically a game.
Right. So it's 8.5 million plus 13. So you're over. And I think there's another roster bonus that was part of this thing. And he had a prorated. Yeah. Or you get stuck with all the money he has that you haven't. And they had voidable years in this thing. So it's kind of spread out in there. They're probably off the top of my head without reading all the details. You probably got a $20 million cap hit. At this point, it started out as a $27 million cap hit, but it's probably more closer to 20, 21, something like that.
All right, here we go.
That's not hard to handle.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home, at least in the 239, the 904 in Tampa St. Pete. Final hour of the show, Lake City, Live Oak, surrounding areas. Port Charlotte, Venice, and surrounding areas. Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
And it's time for Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, which is weekdays 3 to 7, Saturdays 2 to 5. And then Sundays, he's part of CBS's NFL Today show. They were at Lambeau on Sunday for the Green Bay beatdown of Detroit. And then, Pat, the Packers just did it to the Commanders. A very impressive start to the season for Green Bay. By the way, welcome. How are you?
Good to hear your voices, fellas. Yeah, let's start with last night. Again, I must have said this 100 times on your show. I hate Thursday night football. Those guys, I was talking to Dan Quinn on Tuesday, and he was getting on a plane at lunchtime on Wednesday to go out there. And look at the injuries. They got knocked around, and they got a lot of guys that are banged up. All right, so let's look at that. Eckler, Achilles. And I don't want to hear these people go, that could happen in any game. Yeah, well, you never played football, because 3-day recovery in the NFL is not How many times do we know guys don't practice on Wednesdays, or they
All the
don't?
time.
Yeah, but that's a walkthrough and go play a game on the road. So road teams on Thursdays. Eckler's out. Jonathan Jones has a hamstring. Note how many lower leg injuries. Achilles, hamstring, Noah Brown groin, Dedrick Wise quad, John Bates groin, and then Coleman has a shoulder. They're the walking wounded already. And it's a shame that a nice looking football team's got to play on a Thursday because everyone thinks we need a big audience. So out go the best teams. I get it. And this is what the kind of stuff that happens. So it's embarrassing. I won't take anything away from Green Bay. They looked as good last night as they did when I was standing on the sideline. So they're going to be a problem for everybody.
Yeah, their defense is good, but Washington, to me, their linebacking play was horrible. That tight end's good for Green Bay, Kraft, but my goodness, many of those balls, there wasn't anybody within 5 yards of him catching those balls, Pat.
Yeah, to your point, if you looked at some of Kraft's catches, they were that was a bad looking zone defense. There was, the separation from where the linebackers were to where the safeties were is a huge void in there, and the tight ends are always the kind of guys that work in that area very well. So Dan's got a lot to do, but look, you play a game on Sunday and you have 3 walkthroughs. You've got new guys on the team. You got rookies that you're counting on. There's no practice. You just walk through, which is a joke, get on a plane and go play with no recovery time from the game, let alone adjustments. Do you think you can put stuff in? You saw things, and I asked Dan, I said, what did you see in the first game? And he goes, well, you got about 4 or 5 real critical things we got to fix. Well, you're not fixing it in a walkthrough. So tremendous disappointment in my mind that you put those kind of games on TV.
Pat, are we in the media making a big deal out of the Dolphins holding a team meeting after the first game of the season, or did that send alarms off in your mind as well?
I think it's a guaranteed statement that they're in a lot of trouble because we've had those meetings. Jim and I were talking about the ones I've experienced, player-only meetings, and then he's been in a lot of them. He said half the time you're going to start more fights because someone who feels like a team leader is going to stand up and start pointing at people that have to play better. And you can take it from a coach, but it's really hard to take it from a teammate. So don't like the player-only meetings, and I certainly don't like it after 1 week. And then are they all in agreement in that room that it's the coach that's the problem? Who knows what their conclusion was?
This is a week to me of a little bit of desperation for a couple of teams.
Yes.
Let's start with the big 425 game. Super Bowl rematch, Eagles and Chiefs. The Chiefs without Rice for 6 games. Now the Chiefs without Worthy, who's banged up. The Chiefs' offensive line you've talked about has not been great. I think the Chiefs, while I still think they can turn it around, I said it yesterday, I think it's week 6. Detroit and Kansas City play on Sunday night. I can see both of them being 2-3 at that point and being in real desperation. The Chiefs have not been a home underdog since 2022 when they hosted the Bills. They're a home underdog. I think they deserve to be. And if it wasn't the Chiefs, the spread would be 3.5, 4, not 1.5. When you look at this game, what do you see, Pat?
I see everything you just said. And let's just say for a second, Kansas City was at full strength. That's still 2 bad tackles out there. So at full strength, would you take them in a game with the Eagles?
Well, I will say this isn't last year's Eagles where they had edge rushers. I mean, they didn't get a whole lot off the edge against Dallas either. I mean, in fact, it's a big question mark in Philly whether or not they have edge rushers.
Well, their old veteran guys are gone, and so they're trying to get young again. But they did sign someone this week, right? The big Z got over there.
Right.
Yep.
They waited till after week 1 so that his contract could be non-guaranteed. Yes.
Right. So, and I'm sure they gave him a couple bucks to wait and not take someone else's offer because other teams. So I just think Philly, look, they said goodbye to Joe Tooney, and now they're going against those 2 defensive tackles in Philly. Their problems could be up the middle this week. with the way they are. And plus, I think it's really Philly's offense. Did you feel good about Kansas City's defense the other day? I did not.
Well, do you think one of the few times that Spags probably was caught off guard? Let's face it, that's not the offense that Harbaugh threw at him twice last year. He put the game in Justin Herbert's hands. He didn't do that for a single time last year. My guess is, Pat, that had to catch Spags off guard.
It did, but it also exposed their pass rush, which is weak to say the least. And so now here comes Jalen Hurts, not the caliber thrower of Justin Herbert, but Brown was non-existent last week. And, enough with blocking downfield for the running game. I guarantee he's targeted 10 to 12 times in this game.
And Smith didn't have a lot of targets either. You took me right to where I was going in that game. The other desperate team, they're at home. Their coach is guaranteeing a win in week 2. That's the Lions and the Bears. Ben Johnson comes back to Detroit, the OC. Detroit wants this badly because of Ben Johnson. But let's face it, they were terrible against Green Bay. A lot of that may have been Green Bay's doing. Does Detroit right the ship?
Well, I think so. I'm not a big fan of where the Bears are with Caleb, and I think that they'll be able to play games with him and get him to make the mistakes that they need him to make in order to win the game. But I think Detroit has a lot of pride. They're a good football team. Jim Miller's version of what happened in the Detroit Green Bay game was different than mine. He thought Detroit fumbled opportunities, dropped opportunities, mistake opportunities. He thought they could have been much, much closer. I did not see it that way. I thought Green Bay played great, but I like Detroit to rebound in a game like this. And so are they desperate? Well, they got a loss now to the team that's leading the division. So that'll be there until they have a rematch.
Okay, the concern that we have for the Chiefs at tackle, don't you think it's fair? And we had this during the offseason. We didn't know what the Lions were going to do with their center and left guard situation. Were they going to throw a rookie in? Were they going to pick up a veteran late in camp? Pat, they got their butts whooped up front. The Lions' offensive line hasn't gotten their butts whooped in 4 years. They got whooped.
Yeah, they're not
week.
the same. The
Right.
two guards are average to developmental. If that's probably really what they are, Mahogany and the rookie. So yeah, they did. And I don't think Chicago's gonna do much more or less. To me, you got to be a little bit interested in squeezing the gaps, not letting them push upfield. And it is, my friend over there, the quarterback Goff, he'll be fine with this thing. But I would not want to bet on Chicago beating Detroit in Detroit. Not with Caleb.
One thing I will throw out there, the Bears were missing 3 defensive starters Monday night against the Vikings. They think they're getting all 3 guys back. Now, they're back end of the D guys, but I do just want to throw that out there. The Bears think they're going to get a lot healthier in 6 days.
And I think Detroit would have been a lot healthier if they would have signed Smith instead of Philadelphia, so they had someone to complement Hutch on the other side rushing the passer.
And did you watch Hutch close? He's still making his comeback.
Yes.
He was engaged. He couldn't get off the blocks like he usually. He's so sudden when he's healthy, and I saw him locked up with a tackle and unable to separate. So, but I'm not betting on Chicago.
All right, game I'm interested in. The Colts looked great, but it was the Dolphins who looked just miserable. Denver didn't look so good. Sean Payton put a lot of the blame on himself for how he called the game. Far too many throws early. They'll be a little more balanced against Indianapolis. But the Colts I do like at the line of scrimmage. Colts are a 1.5-point dog for those that care. Does Denver have a much better performance than they did week 1 against Tennessee?
I think Denver will right the ship. They've got a good, solid defense. Bo Nix will play better than he did. I'm so happy for Daniel Jones, but let's remember, Daniel Jones is 4-13 in his last 17 games. I'll tell you when they do well. You guys know this, but for the listeners, let Daniel Jones run 9 times, 10 times. Because that's when they were good at the Giants. He is an underrated runner, and if he runs, then it gives him a chance. Because that's an abstract where your defense really has to – they're never going to put a spy on him. He's not that kind of runner. but the opportunities for him to pull the ball out and go are there. Daniel Jones, for as bad as his record's 10-6 when he runs just 9 times or more. So that dimension absolutely required, or Denver's going to put a whipping on him.
Tyler Warren's going to be the offensive rookie of the year. I'm telling you, he's going to be a problem. He's
only because he
already
has
a problem.
Daniel. If he had Anthony, we wouldn't even be talking about him.
Well, there's no doubt. It's a huge difference. But here's the other thing, Pat. Okay. Daniel's never had a Tyler Warren before. Listen, none of us think he's a good quarterback. He's serviceable. But, he was serviceable once and took the Giants to the playoffs with a worse roster than the one he's got in Indianapolis. I'm telling you, I think they're better than we think with Tyler Warren.
Absolutely. He's a factor, but he's a factor because of Daniel. And as long as Anthony never goes back on the field, he will be the rookie of the year. Last year, Jonathan Taylor rushed for over 100, and they still got beat 31-13. It was interesting. Bo Nix in that game last year. I will say this about Indy's defense. There's a lot more speed on that defense than people think. They picked off Nix 3 times last year. I don't think that'll happen this time, but I think the Indianapolis defense is a little underrated, and they get to the ball. You go watch how many times you see a tackle, and there's 4 or 5 of them there. They'll play really hard.
He's Pat Kirwan. More with Pat next on Miller and Moulton. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Mark, I do like your question about panic teams and desperation. I'll put the Houston Texans in that list.
We'll get to them too. Yeah.
Hey, do you think the entire AFC South is going to lose this weekend?
No.
No. David took Cincinnati. Our handicapper took the Jags outright. I'm fascinated by that game.
Yep.
Because, to your point, David, and I was going to look it up and I didn't. The Jags haven't started 2-0 in however many years.
7.
Well, when's the last time the Cincinnati Bengals started 2-0?
Well, not under this coach, they haven't.
Right?
No. They have the old, we're a slow starting team. Their offense,
Oofta. Can you use Vern Lundquist on the air these days? How do you describe the Bengals' offensive performance week 1? Oofta.
I had dinner with him once. It was the most enjoyable dinner. We were at a table of about 18 guys, and I was right across from him at the far end, away from all the execs, and we just had the greatest time. And he had plenty of commentary on those dudes.
Yes, he does. He used to do it. Vern took down Tim Brando sitting 4 seats away from Tim Brando, and Tim didn't even know it. Okay,
I believe it.
At an SEC, right after an SEC championship game one time. It was spectacular.
Yeah. It's funny you bring up Tim Brando. One day when Tim was doing this college show on Saturday, he had a diarrhea attack. And he was sprinting from his seat at the desk to the bathroom and didn't quite make it.
All righty then.
And I told Vern about it. He wasn't there, and he goes, well, that just proves my theory about him. Like, he was full of shit.
We had Timmy B on.
I love Timmy.
I do too, and he's been great to us, and he likes David a lot. It's so great. We've interviewed Timmy B a dozen times. He never, every answer, whether I asked the question or David asked the question. Well, David, every time. And the last time I called him, and he's David. I says, no, this is Mark. I'm his co-host. We're both, okay, Mark. Talked for 2 minutes, set up the interview. David was every answer. And I think we had him on. We ended up using it for a whole hour. We may have asked 10 questions.
Yeah. I used to do a show with him every Friday during the season at Mickey Mantle's when it was right there on Central Park West. And we sat in the window of Mickey Mantle's and did a 45-minute show. It was fun. I had to go in on Fridays for CBS. It was like nuts then with Eric Mann. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Friday, I had a radio show at 3:00, and I had time, and he was in town for the college thing the next day. So he had his own. He could hustle a show. It was so much fun with him every week. But I could see how he got like that. He'd be like my best friend until he'd see me at dinner with Marino, and then he would just want to talk to Dan, and Dan didn't want to talk to him. So I was non-existent during those things.
Hey, one of our listeners just asked, I've not seen it. He asked the effects of the new spotting technology. I haven't noticed it. Pat, have you?
No, I did in the preseason. They had a couple of resets or something. They got people were recording how much there was a delay and all that business. But in 1 week of football, it did not come up one time.
It's so much that I've almost forgotten about it at this point. That's a great thing. You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah, it just it blends right into how we're living.
It's like watching a game going, were there officials today?
Yeah. The less I talk about them, the better. And I will say, it's funny you say that because I didn't even think about it till you brought it up. This past Monday, we did not have
not a one
full of controversial calls.
Not a one, Pat.
Yeah.
And there was still a boatload of one-score games like there always is.
Yep. No. That is refreshing because usually Mondays is just all bad calls or missed calls or whatever you want to call it. And every fan knows the one call that helped them lose their game and they're calling in. But I didn't get any callers or anything.
DC, no.
Here you go.
Mickey Mantle's in New York closed.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joins us every week courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. All of our guests joining us on the American Paint Supplies hotline. One-stop shop for all your coating needs. The DK Metcalf reunion in Pittsburgh. Seahawks and Steelers. Seattle easily could have beaten the Niners. That jump ball in the end zone went the wrong way. Did Pittsburgh start 2-0?
I think so. I kind of like where they're going now. I do worry about their run defense, but Seattle really didn't get the run game generated the way they wanted. Talk to Mike McDonald about it. That's definitely the point of emphasis this week at practice. And Pittsburgh better be talking about run defense issues. They did not look very good that time. I like Pittsburgh's offense. I think that Rodgers and Mike Tomlin that combination is going to work all year. They like each other. They get along. I think Mike has the ability to. Has he been on Pat McAfee since he got there?
It's a great point. I think he has respect for Tomlin that he didn't have for the guy in New York last year, Pat.
I think if you think about Rodgers, it's almost always his conflicts are with young head coaches. And you go back and look at Green Bay, and he had that problem there. And I thought the coach in Green Bay was handling it the right way, but he likes Tomlin. And when I was out there, Tomlin likes him. They had so many talks before he ever came here. And remember, he came for nothing. He said he'd come for 10. They only gave him 13 million. That's how much he wanted to play for the guy. And I think it's working perfectly for him. And he likes the big tight ends, and he's got a lot of things going on that he likes. So the harmony seems there. And if he's not causing headlines with commentary on the McAfee show, which I don't think he's been on for a couple of weeks. I think he might have gone on just before he signed, and then he hasn't been on since.
Well, my wife and our season tickets are big fans because we just sold the Green Bay game, and trust me, it went at a premium. You know, last week Atlanta and Penix handled the blitz pretty well with Todd Bowles. Now they've got Flores in the Vikings, who blitzes, and he's got a great defense. What do you think about Atlanta going up to Minnesota?
Well, I think there's a lot of excitement for Atlanta. I talked to Raheem Morris, and they lost the game, but he's one of those losses where he was happy with his team in the sense he sees the future. He knows that the quarterback went and delivered a very nice performance, almost 300 yards passing, and under pressure, pretty good. Go look at the fourth quarter. He just kept rallying the team back, an 18-play drive. We talked about all this on Tuesday. Minnesota, you know, I know McCarthy was the player of the week, but was he the player of the fourth quarter? You know, and now I saw that Carson Wentz took reps yesterday. So hopefully he's okay. But I think it's tough. Here's where I think Atlanta's problems are. They can't block. Now, I'm not so sure if we're going to see the full-strength pass rush that Minnesota can provide. We'll see. But I don't think that Atlanta can block that pass rush. It's up in Minnesota. My memories of being in Minnesota, it's so damn loud. It is a problem for the opposing offense.
Flores never sent more than 5 guys against Caleb Williams. I'll be curious whether he sends more than 5 against Penix at all. 4 didn't work against Chicago, but 5 did very effectively. Monday night, the early game, Tampa Bay and Houston.
Yeah.
Listen, it was a tough assignment for the revamped Texans offensive line, but they didn't handle it very well. They don't have a premier running back. This is an interesting game.
Yeah, and Houston has a fine defense. And, you know, go back to the 2023 game. That's when Stroud was at his best, right? 2024 was full of sacks and everything else. By the way, he's been sacked 104 times in 37 games. That's almost 3 sacks per game. Do you think they have fixed that problem? I do not. But that game against Tampa Bay, and this is when, you know, Winfield was healthy and all that business, Stroud threw for 470 yards and 5 touchdowns. That was the peak of everyone getting excited about Stroud. Tampa Bay will have some answers for that. And then Houston's got to solve their own issues, which I don't think they've have solved yet on the protection front and getting an offense that's going to score enough. So I think Tampa Bay will have their way with them. And I think Baker, he's not going to throw for 470 yards, but he's not going to do a bad job. He'll throw 2 or 3 touchdowns. I think they'll win the game. They said 45 points over under on that one. It could be low. I might take the under, which I almost never like to do.
You know, you focused a lot on Houston there. Are you worried at all about the revamped Tampa line? Because you've still got Barton at left tackle. You bring the new center in. So they've had to switch around the left side of that line. And Atlanta, who doesn't get after the passer very well, got after Baker pretty well last week.
Yeah, when I was at camp, my friend Ira Kaufman, good guy, he said to me, I said, how do you feel about replacing Wirfs for the first few weeks? And he started mentioning all the guys that were getting the reps. I said, Barton's the guy. He's a good tackle. He can go out and play tackle for you, and you can keep him out there and worry less about it than any of these other guys that are fighting for that job. So it wasn't, but was it about 36 hours before the game, they made the announcement they're going to Barton. I think they had seen enough of the other ones. I think Barton will be fine until Wirfs gets back, and Wirfs started to practice, so might see him in 2 weeks.
Any concern in San Francisco? Man, they already
Yeah.
have a lot of injuries. Purdy, 2 to 5 weeks. I think it was 3 weeks yesterday. They've got a Thursday night game in 20 days against the Rams. That's the game I have circled. Can he be back by then? But Mac Jones, Kyle Shanahan loves Mac Jones. Well, now he's got to ride him.
Yeah, and he's not going to have a full complement, as you guys know, of weapons. He's not
Right.
going to have his tight end. Ayuk's still not back. Debo's gone. Did Debo? I bet you last night when they watched that game, I wish they had Debo still. And Jennings looks as he has a shoulder. He may go, but he may not be good. They had a kicking problem. They fired their kicker. They got these injuries. And you and I, the three of us know this. They're going to wear out McCaffrey now. He had 31 touches in the first game. Now you got Mac Jones. You know they're going to try to win with running the ball. I'd be nervous about keep giving this guy 30 touches, but they're going to do it. That's really their answer. And they're not losing to Spencer Rattler. He's yet to win an NFL football game, and he's under 60%. Here's his touchdown ratio. If you like Spencer Rattler for his career, 1 touchdown every 69 throws.
We mentioned the team meeting of the Dolphins, but we really didn't talk about the game. I think the team meeting works for this week just because Tua's been great against New England in his career. And I think the teams are probably pretty close roster-wise, but I think Miami wins at home. Do you like the Dolphins this week despite all of the crap that's going on?
I'd be very careful about taking them. There was arguing on the sideline. They don't look like they're playing with enthusiasm. I think they're more inclined to be blaming the coach rather than themselves. That's easy now to say, it's a pretty loose structure around here. Yeah, Tua has never lost to New England. To me, that creates even more pressure. Imagine if they lose that game to a team they never lose to. Whoa.
All right, got about a minute. The Ravens and Bills played a classic. Now the next game, Baltimore home for Cleveland, Buffalo at the Jets. Remember, the Bills have lost to bad Jets teams before on the road. And remember, Deshaun even went into Baltimore 2 years ago and beat the Ravens. Any concern for the Bills or Ravens this week?
I think if one of them loses, people are going to say it was a hangover from the big, long, exciting game. They're both better than the teams they're playing. I'll say this about Cleveland. Cleveland's been chirping all week that they're not afraid to play these guys. And Flacco, we all know, played there. But ultimately, when you look at the Cleveland, they get after things. And I'll say this about, and I didn't know this till I looked it up, Baltimore, when they don't get over 25 points, which happened last year 6 times, they lost every one of those games. So Cleveland's going to think we can hold these guys down. That's how they're going to try to play the game. Keep them around 20 points, 24 points. And if that happens, watch out. It could be an upset there. But
all right. He's Pat Kirwan. You can listen to him on NFL radio weekdays 3 to 7, Saturdays 2 to 5. Sundays, he's with CBS and the NFL Today Show. Pat joining us courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West and all points in between. Pinchers, when you can't fake fresh. So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters. Floormeisters.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofing.com. MillerRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So they have a new payroll system at CBS, and a whole bunch of us didn't get paid. Yeah, Mickey Mantle's been closed for 12, 13, 15 years, something like that. Closed in the early 20-teens. TC, I agree with you. The linebacker being out for the Vikings will bother them. Robes, you're so right. U.S. Bank, by the way, is an awesome place. That does not get talked about enough. It is top 5 loud. Minneapolis, the Vikings stadium.
Oh, yeah. I
magnificent.
I didn't know the name of it.
I actually like it better than SoFi. I mean, the SoFi scoreboard's obscenely great, but I love U.S. Bank Stadium. Of the indoor stadiums, it's my favorite.
So I love this post story, and it's for you and Michael. That's the only two people that care about this story, and you probably both don't care. But apparently, this model was dating both Alcaraz and Sinner during the U.S. Open.
No.
Brooks Nader, I don't know who she is. She's very healthy, to say the least. But that's what the Post has got here. Swimsuit model Brooks Nader was romantically playing doubles with both men's finalists at the U.S. Open, a source tells us.
That's awesome.
I love the Post. God, I love the Post. Thank you. Of all the things it's a tie between quit watching the news and the Post. They have both brought so much joy in my life, David.
Two of the 3 best things I've ever done for you. Quit watching the news, and here's the New York Post.
Yes, coming to me and saying wanting to do the show with you is number 1. It always will be. It's a life-changing moment for me.
News 2, Post 3. Yep, no doubt. Mark, I was going on one day. Mark's like, "Where do you get that?" I go, "Oh, the New York Post every day." He just looked at me kind of like, "Yeah, your New York thing." I'm like, "Oh no, I'm telling you, man, this is trash. It's great, great sports section.
The sports section
trash,
is unbelievable,
and trash. It's like the perfect paper.
And obviously, if you lean left, you won't like any of the stories because it doesn't just lean right, it tilts right.
Right. I mean, it's owned by
like with
Murdoch.
a heavy weight, like with the fat guy on a seesaw with a skinny girl. I mean, no.
So, needless to say, they're real happy about the guy who right now is leading to become their next mayor. Right. Uh-huh.
God bless. By the way, at least the headline online is in red, exclusive underneath in red, plain doubles. And then it says Brooks Nader was dating both Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner during the U.S. Open in steamy movie plot come to life.
That's fantastic.
Best headline writers in the country. And it's not, and the Daily News is good, but there is no better headlines written in the world than the New York Post.
Not even close.
Ah, God. I know, Michael, you're pushing hard for that poll question. It's a football Friday. You've got to remember there are far more football fans than hockey fans. It's a cute question. It's a nice question. May go for it in June during the Stanley Cup playoffs.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Broadcasting live from the Floor Meisters studios. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real. So, I didn't bring this up earlier, but this story is like a week and a half old. I just want to spend like 3 minutes on one topic. Are you okay with the NFL moving indoors? Commanders' new stadium's going to have a roof. Denver's new stadium's going to have a roof. Nashville's new stadium's going to have a roof. I mean, the outdoor game, I'm pretty sure that a majority of the NFL games, probably by 2030, 31, when all these new stadiums, put Denver and the Commanders, give them the rest of the decade to get it done, 2031, 2032. I mean, of all the new stadiums being built, Buffalo's doesn't have a dome.
The Browns' new stadium, dome?
Dome.
Right, because they want Final Fours and all the other things
right.
that come with the dome.
And are you okay as a fan? Because I know you're not going to go to games most likely in any of these places. So in that sense, I know you don't care. But we all love the weather football game on TV in November, December, and January. We love watching it. We love football in the snow.
We do.
The first snow game we get, we go nuts over. And I'm wondering, are you okay as a fan? Just a fan.
You know what? I'm okay with it because I totally understand. And it's tough for me in this instance to look at it as just a fan. I still watch all the games as just a fan. But when you ask me that question, there's so many things that come into it. These stadiums cost billions of dollars.
Chicago is planning a dome. Right.
But if you don't put the dome on it, then what do you get? 9 or 10 Sundays to use your stadium. And
Correct.
That's it.
Right.
That's it. You put a dome on the stadium. Now you can have all kinds of other events. You can have Final Fours.
Right.
I mean, you can have, whether it's and I don't know how big the monster truck and motocross and things, but you can do those things in there. It opens you up for year-round big concerts.
Oh, no. Mark, we all know why they're going domes. Right. If you're spending a couple of billion or more for a stadium, you want to be able to use it. No. We all know why. The football fan in you, we're losing outdoor football, particularly bad weather outdoor football.
Edge Saturday, because it will never, well, I shouldn't say never. It will be highly unlikely that they're going to knock down the big house in Ann Arbor to put a roof on a new stadium. I can't imagine the shoe ever enclosing that. I really can't.
I agree.
So Edge Saturday, because they'll still get the weather. But this is, I guess, the ultimate irony to me, David, because obviously the owners are going to do what they want. But what's the one thing you and I have talked about for the last several years of who they care about the least from their fan base? The in-stadium fan. They care about what? The television show. We've been telling you that for damn near 20 years. But they're doing this because I believe most fans would rather be inside of a dome watching their team play in November and December than the people in Buffalo and Green Bay that are wearing 17 layers trying to survive. I've been to games in December in Pittsburgh, and I'm a wussy that's lived in Florida for quite a long time now. It's cold. It's even worse in late October and early November when it rains.
By my calculation, and we'll get back to the games and what have you. By my calculation, give it 5 years, 6, whatever. You know what I'm getting at. By the very early 2030s, it'll be exactly 50-50. Outdoor stadiums to indoor stadiums. But however, the outdoor stadiums where we could get weather, Jets, Bills, Patriots, Bengals, Steelers, Ravens, Chiefs, 7, New York, Philly. By the way, they're beginning to kick the tires about replacing the link. And if they do, they're talking about a dome. Green Bay, Seattle.
It's just rain.
Okay, so if you don't count Seattle, and I'm not counting San Francisco, I know you can get it's rain. So you're down to 10 places where you have the chance of a weather late season game. I'm just bringing it up. That's all.
I get your point. And from the in-stadium fan experience, a dome's better. It just is. I wouldn't want to sit outside in Detroit and watch a game. And I know the Detroit Lion fan would eat it up. They'd eat it up the way the Green Bay fan did, the way the Viking fan did before the dome was built. The way the Buffalo fan, they would. They'd still go. But it's a better in-stadium fan experience when you're comfortable.
Tell you what, though, you ask a diehard Viking fan, all right, remember while they were building U.S. Bank and they played those 2 years at the Gopher Stadium and they played that playoff game outdoors against the Seahawks and Bud Grant walked out there in the golf shirt and it was like 4 degrees.
Well, and I'm just thinking, you with the Vikings got me thinking of how many times the Vikings just destroyed the Lions, and that's what I watched as a kid, and thinking of all those games outdoors in Minnesota where it was just the purple people eaters and it was snowing and you could see the breath. And there's just something about those old NFL films to me of that team and that defense that conjure up memories of when I was very, very young.
So, all right, just wanted to throw that out there. We have made our NFL picks.
No, we'll do that top of the hour.
Okay. You've got a couple of upsets that you like in college. You like Georgia Tech, I think, to beat Clemson.
Yeah, I'm him and Hahn. It's going to be a really good game. But
you like
wish
Vandy
he was healthy.
But you like Vandy to go into South Carolina and win.
I do. I think their quarterback's one of the more underrated quarterbacks in college football. He's never going to play on Sunday. Don't mistake my words. See, you can be very good to great on Saturday and never have a career on Sunday.
Agreed.
This kid's that kid. That coach has something going on. That team follows that quarterback. He's a cocky little SOB, talks a lot of smack and backs it up. And I don't think South Carolina's defense is all that good.
Second game in a row, South Florida is a 17.5-point underdog. How much of a puncher's chance do you give them to win?
They would need Mario to have a Mario game. They would need, I think, everything to go right. And I just worry about South Florida at the point of attack on both sides of the ball. Miami is very good on both the offensive and defensive line. And I don't think the South Florida quarterback is going to have the success running the football that he's had thus far in the season. That's going to put it on his arm. And I think Miami's good enough. Look, at Florida has a pretty good defense. They held them to under 20 points. Florida didn't lose that game because of the Gators' defense. They lost that game because of one stupid defensive penalty, but he gets to play this week against LSU. Don't worry. Another defensive penalty that continued to drive and led to 3 before the end of the half. And all of the penalties the Gators had that stalled drives. Where Lagway is right now, and I love DJ Lagway, Carson Beck's in another class. I think he's able to throw the ball very effectively. They can cover South Florida. But like I said earlier, if they cover, to me, it's a late cover. I think they're arm-barred by the U this week.
So 1 to 10, chances to win 1?
3.
Okay.
3.
I'm with
Golis a good coach.
I'm picking South Florida to cover, but the reason I don't give them much of a chance to win is a point you mentioned. Right now, I don't think they have enough of a running game outside of the quarterback to be able to beat a team like Miami. I also think they'd have to be at least +2 in turnovers in order to win. Do you have a lock either Saturday or Sunday? Because I have a lock on Sunday with a stat to back it up.
Ooh, I like it. By the way, for the Bulls, just quickly, they have South Carolina State next week in a bye. So even with this unbelievably tough schedule to start the season, where we all think they're going to get beat up a little bit by playing this level of competition, they've got 2 weeks to get themselves right, no matter what happens against Miami, before they start their conference schedule. So just remember that. A lock this week?
Yeah. A lock. In a competitive situation, not, hey, I like Alabama over Wisconsin. Well, good. They're a 3-touchdown favorite. By the way, quick sidebar, Luke Fickell needs to cover. Seriously. Okay? Barry Alvarez said out loud a week or so ago, he thinks Wisconsin's every bit as good as Alabama this year. I know he's not running the athletic department, but if he picks up the phone, they listen. I'm just saying, I don't think Luke can get goat rodeoed and boat race this week, Mark.
Of the 5 games I picked, I feel the strongest about the Dogs at Tennessee.
Okay. Fair
What's
enough.
your lock, David?
Okay. So Tom Brady beat the Bills one time. He had a streak of 13 in a row. Dak Prescott has won his last 13 starts against the Giants. They're only, what are they, a 5.5 point favorite?
I think you're right. Give me a moment. Talk amongst yourselves.
The Cowboys have owned this rivalry for a decade. Dak, 13 consecutive wins against a team, ties Brady for the second longest streak in NFL history. Bob Greasy with the Dolphins won 17 straight starts against the Bills.
Great Denny Lemieux reference from Slapshot there with owns. The number is 5.5.
So, I mean, for those of you, sometimes you try not to take the obvious play in, your elimination pool. A team who's a 5.5 point favorite that we all have questions about. Trust me, not just as a Giants fan, but those are the numbers. Okay. We keep talking about if the Dolphins lose this game, let me tell you what it'll be like in Dallas if the Cowboys lose this game.
I seen happen before. Puck come down before the other guys. My arm go up, play stop, then start again. That's sneaky, David. I always try to just take the automatic in my survivor pools. And I've looked at a couple of other games. Arizona's one that I looked at and said, do you just take the Cardinals? The Panthers are bad, and save Baltimore for later down the season when you're going to need them. So that's interesting that you say Dallas and gave those numbers, because originally I was just going to say Baltimore and be done with it.
Yep. And they're what, 11-something point favorites?
Yes, 11.5, I think.
But that's why, to me, like, I thought the Cowboys were going to be like an 8-point favorite. Dak looked really good against the Eagles. And the Giants don't have corners. I mean, seriously. If the Giants don't put Dak Prescott on the ground, they're going to score 30-plus points.
And CeeDee Lamb's not going to have 3 drops this week.
No.
And Pickens will get involved more in the game than he was last week. And I do like the Cowboys' offensive line. I think the draft picks they've made and the changes they've made, their offensive line it's not top 10. I'm not saying anything like that, but it's an average to an above average offensive line.
They have no running backs. I'd played nickel and dime all day against the Cowboys. I don't know if I'd ever come out with less than 5 in the secondary against Dallas.
So that's a look. We spent a little time. This obviously talked to Pat. Last hour, we went through the college games extensively. Pat Kirwan, he didn't have an upset this week, did he?
No.
He really didn't, and that's unusual. Pat usually has a hunch. Last week, it was be it a small upset, but he had Vegas. The one game we didn't ask him about, and I probably will text him, is who's going to be 2-0, the Chargers or the Raiders, the late Monday night game?
Pete Carroll has told quite a few people that the toughest coach he ever had to prepare against in the NFL was Jim Harbaugh. During those Seahawks-Niners, they had 8 meetings head-to-head and then a playoff meeting. He said preparing for Jim Harbaugh was the toughest preparation I ever had. Miller and Moulton, the bonus hour is next.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
So I
sound.
asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters. Floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, your home for all the football and baseball that September provides, plus a nightly food special. Got bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays, live music Fridays, karaoke Saturdays. Never mind the fact that Shoeless Joe's is going to celebrate Grandparents' Day, National Hot Dog Day, National Cheeseburger Day, all in the month of September. Food and drink specials during every NFL game. Shoeless Joe's, the official home for Ohio State football. Shoeless Joe's, good food, good times, good sports in the Doubletree by Hilton. Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Michael, I don't think I will be. But I won't get to the hotel in Indianapolis till 8:30.
Michael, believe it or not, I don't mean this to be mean. It's only going to come off that. How much you and before you Irish constantly talked about Colorado on this show. I don't give a shit about the Colorado Buffaloes. And you guys talk about it so much that I don't even want to watch them. And if anything, you guys make me root against them. They're a 500 college football team. Who cares? I know you do. They're your favorite team. They are a 500 team in a bad conference.
I will say, though, it'll be interesting if there's any sort of rating tonight for Dion. Okay. I mean, they get a primetime game. They're an underdog at Houston to show you what expectations are, so here's my guess, Michael. I think when I get to the hotel, which is a Hilton Garden Inn by the airport, it has, believe it or not, a great bar restaurant. The food's spectacular. The wings are fantastic. I will probably have a plate of wings. The game will be on. So for a quarter, I'll probably watch it.
And I may watch the second half if I'm awake. I mean, really and truly, I'm going to be sitting down in front of that television from noon until midnight tomorrow. And Sunday, who the hell's the Sunday night game?
Minnesota, Atlanta.
Yeah. And so repeat on Sunday. And then the Bucks play on Monday. So I don't know if I will watch any college football. I may try to move Saturday night to Friday night this week, if you know what I mean. Funny talking to Blinko yesterday. He's talking about chicken wings. And I'm like, yeah, there aren't many good spots around me to get a good wing. And he's like, there aren't many spots around me where you can get a bad wing. I'm like, ass.
He's up by Niagara Falls, isn't he?
Yeah, he's kind of between more like 10 minutes from Niagara, 30 from Buff.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour, Miller and Moulton. On this Football Friday, Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, Southwest Florida. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Picking the NFL winner straight up. We did okay last week. I mean, we each went 12-4. We each had Green Bay last night. So, we're off to a decent start. Not, oh my goodness, that's spectacular. I think a lot of people, unless you have a crazy week in the NFL, I think a lot of people can pick 10 or more winners on a weekly basis. But
yeah, I'm in a pretty big pool of NFL picks. There's a couple hundred people that do this. And I was a game off the win, but there were quite a few people that had 13. I ended up with 12. That was in the ballpark.
And so I think there's a few sneaky games this week. Once again, I might be overanalyzing a 3-car funeral. I may be making a couple picks that'll get me in trouble. Mark is pretty much I'm taking the favorites guy, and I'm the one that usually ventures off the beaten path. But start wherever you want.
I've got them all written down, David. I got the sheet done before the show today. I am fired up for today. I got a good rest last night. I feel good. Even though it wasn't a lot of sleep, it was good sleep. Rams at Tennessee. Spread in this one for what it's worth, 5.5. We're just picking winners. I like the Rams to go 2-0, David.
Yeah, I don't like Tennessee's offensive line still, and the Rams have a top 5 defensive line. I think that's enough.
And how many times was Ward sacked last week?
Yeah, I'm not as concerned. The Rams and Niners are pretty good about traveling east. Pete Carroll had it figured out eventually in Seattle. I'm not, Mark, so worried about the 10 a.m. kickoff for these guys who are used to the West Coast. I think they handle it, even though it's a noon kick in Nashville. Give me the Rams.
Seattle at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, a little more than a field goal favorite. It is Aaron Rodgers against Sam Darnold, and I like what Pat had to say about the relationship between Rodgers and Tomlin. He thinks it's going to work all year. It works for this week. For those of you wondering, my tickets are still available. The home opener, not an easy ticket to get rid of. We had to lower our prices for the Steelers home opener, but give me Pittsburgh.
Even after the 34 points they put on the board last week, the Steelers, they're looking around going, oh, we haven't seen this since Roethlisberger in the 20 teens.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised and they're not that expensive either. Not much more than face value, if you will.
Okay, this is one of my upset picks. I just think that Seattle's a decent team, and therefore I don't think they start 0-2. You start 0-2 in the NFL, you have a 10% chance of making the playoffs, based on past precedent anyway. So I think Seattle gets the win.
Buffalo and the Jets. Do you give the Jets any shot, David? I don't.
I do. I think there'll be a little bit of a hangover. The other thing, Mark, I don't think the Bills' defense is all that great. I just think they play with the lead all the damn time because Josh Allen's amazing. I don't like their secondary. I hate their safeties. I mean, listen, we all love the DeMar Hamlin story. He should not be a starter in the NFL. Okay, he's a borderline roster guy, to be brutally honest with you. Okay, and the Bills are undersized. Okay, the Bills, good Bill. Josh Allen's gotten his butt kicked by the Jets in Jersey before, but I think they'll win because ultimately it is Josh Allen against Justin Fields.
You give Ben Johnson and the Bears a shot to go into Detroit and make the Lions 0-2.
I do. I think the Lions will win. I think it'll be a much more competitive game. Remember, Chicago was fairly competitive against Detroit the last couple years. They didn't win, but they actually played them tough. Remember, what was the game that Eberflus got fired with the clock mismanagement? They lost by 3.
Yeah, so, I think Hutch will have a big game. I would expect a sack or 2 against Caleb in this one. Cleveland and the Giants and Dallas. It was David's lock of the week just a segment ago, so we know where he is. And to our texter who said, don't do all this Dallas talk. I want my Cowboys to win. They're going to win enough. Settle down. It's okay. we're
The-
both picking
The
Dallas.
only chance, and the Giants didn't run the ball worth a damn against Washington, is the Giants, much like Seattle said, hey, we didn't run the ball last week, we're going to commit to the run this week. Well, the Giants need to commit to the run to not only keep Dak and his wide receivers off the field, but the Cowboys are vulnerable against the run. I just don't think the Giants are good enough to take advantage of it.
Great point, David. Cleveland and Baltimore, the largest spread on the board. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this one. I'll take the Ravens.
I think there was a chance for a hangover if the Ravens had won. No chance for a hangover. A, they lost, and B, the Browns are talking smack.
All right. I listened to what Pat said, and I'm not going against this, but I'm worried picking San Francisco at New Orleans. Don't ask me why, but see, the Niners, they're banged up. No Kittle, no Ayuk. But I think McCaffrey's enough. I was forced with pick 14 in a 12-person draft to take McCaffrey on the back end coming around. I'm hoping for 3 big McCaffrey games to start, and then as a fantasy guy, I'm putting them on the block, David, but I'll take the Niners to win outright.
What's the over-under on this game?
40.5.
I think you got to go under. I do. I'm with you. I think the cover is a worry. I think they win. First off, their kicking will be better. Can't be worse than the guy they had the last couple of years. And I'm telling you, Kyle Shanahan loves Mac Jones. I've said that for a year. He does. He believes in him. Mark, they ride McCaffrey. They win a close one.
We both picked Miami earlier in the show against the number at New England. No need to break down the discussion any more than that. We both think the Dolphins win. And that buys McDaniel a few more weeks, basically.
See, this is where the Dolphins bad at cornerback, but do the Patriots have any weapons to take advantage of it? Also, Drake May needs to play better than he did last week.
And I don't love where the Patriots are as an offensive line, and the front seven stunk last week for the Dolphins. I expect them to be much better in getting after the quarterback. Jacksonville at Cincinnati. David, I know you're taking the Bengals because you laid the 3.5. I'm taking the road team. For as much as you talked about Jacksonville not starting 2-0 in forever, when's the last time the Bengals started 2-0? I like Jacksonville on the road here. Give me the fighting Trevor Lawrences. I'll take the Jags outright.
So for the record, he's taking Vanderbilt on the road to win and the Jags on the road to win. All right. It's all because you didn't get that nap yesterday. If you had had that nap, these picks would be completely different.
Carolina at Arizona. A lot of energy for a guy that didn't get a nap and watched all of Thursday night football last night. I may crash and burn by 10:15 this morning. Carolina at Arizona. David laid the points earlier in this. I agree with him. Cardinals will win the game at home.
The reason why I don't think there'll be an upset is the Cardinals are pretty good defensively. And by pretty good, they're good. So therefore, I don't think Bryce Young and company are going to go there and score 27, which I think they'll have to do to win because I think Arizona is going to get into the 20s.
Denver at Indianapolis. It's a 1.5 point spread. We mentioned it earlier in the show. Sean Payton took a lot of the blame for the way the Denver offense performed. He didn't put it on Knicks. He put it on himself with play calling. Said he's got to take a long, hard look at it. They did not run the ball early enough in this game. But I like Indy at the line of scrimmage. David, Colts with an upset.
Oh, no. Really? Really? Oh, man. First off, and I have no proof of this. I have a little bit of proof. Sean Payton is being nice. Okay. He's trying to protect his young quarterback. Yes. Okay. The fact of the matter is that one of Knick's 3 turnovers was an interception in which literally they had 2 wide receivers crossing. He threw it to the guy who was double covered and didn't throw it to the guy who was wide open. Okay. That's not on Sean Payton. So I needed to just say that. Secondly, I like Indy too. And I like the Broncos. I picked them to win the West. But the Colts are my sneaky, sleepy surprise team in the AFC. I think they win 10 and sneak into the playoffs. And give me the Colts.
I took Philly and laid the points. Not only have I taken Jacksonville on the road, I've taken Vanderbilt on the road. I'm taking Philadelphia at Kansas City on the road. Give me the Eagles.
I'll take the Chiefs. The Eagles are not the same team that beat them in the Super Bowl. All those edge rushers, most of them are gone. So I don't think they match up well to take advantage of the Chiefs tackles. Now, I will say, without having Tooney inside, stopping Jalen Carter could be a problem, and he's going to be highly motivated because he had last week off. But I like the Chiefs. I do. I do like Pat's analysis of the Eagles wide receivers weren't targeted last week, and you can't do that 2 weeks in a row. So look for them to throw the ball a lot more. And I've seen firsthand Philly go into Arrowhead and win, but I'm going to take the Chiefs.
Atlanta in Minnesota. We talked about the home field advantage that the Vikings have. In fact, during the commercial break, David talked about it for 4 more minutes. Who do you like, Falcons at Vikings?
I like the Vikings. I think Flores will actually watch the game tape against the Bucs and realize, because the blitz didn't work against Penix last week by Tampa. I actually think Flores will thank Todd Bowles after the game and say, I was going to attack him this way, but because he handled it against you guys, I went and tackled him the other way. I like the Vikings. The Vikings are a really solid team. Really solid.
And remember, that was J.J. McCarthy's first start. And what did he do over the course of the game? He got better. So now, I like McCarthy and the Vikings at home against Atlanta.
I'll say this also. Thielen, 1 catch. Hawkinson, 1 catch. Jefferson outside of the touchdown really wasn't a factor. They do have to get that passing game going much better this week.
Miller and Moulton. We'll give a little preview and just make our picks quickly on the other side of the Monday night game and start looking ahead to a great football weekend on Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You know how Ravel loves to post his food things, David? The new pub brat burger in Evanston at Northwestern. 2 brat patties, loads of kraut, and a volcano of beer cheese on a fresh pretzel bun.
So this will be the only comment I make on it. So apparently the dad of the shooter is the one who deserves the credit here. The shooter confessed to his dad, and his dad got away from his son, let the authorities know, and then made sure his son didn't go anywhere.
And look, this is not political, but there are some things about Trump that crack me up. The fact that he does the Yankees game last night. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do Fox and Friends in the morning before I go back. I'm going to stay in New York. I'm going to do Fox and Friends. I'm going to get a little TV time, and then I'm going to go back to work. Look, it's not a political statement. I don't.
Nope.
I am just saying
that
if Biden would have gone to a Mets game and then gone on Scarborough when, Morning Joe the next morning, that would be equally as great, but they didn't. He does. It cracks me up.
And he may go back to work, but then again, by the time he leaves Fox and Friends and what have you, maybe time to go golfing.
He's got a course in Jersey. He could go get a quick 18 in.
Bedminster's not even an hour. About an hour from Radio City Music Hall, and Fox's studios are directly across the street. Now that it's an hour for us, he travels a little faster.
Correct. By helicopter, 12 minutes.
Guys, you going to be there from the 11 a.m. tea time?
Who's my looper today? I need a 4 caddy and a couple of carts. Let's go.
I'll just decide, do I eat before golf or after?
You know what I'm doing after this show?
You're napping.
Well, before the nap, I need a little base. I think I'm going to that. I think it's Milano's, the Cuban place in the gas station at Ben Hill and Corkscrew. And I'm going to grab a couple empanadas.
Okay. Been a while?
It's been a long while.
I had food truck food last night.
Good for you.
They came into the development. It was an Oriental, kind of Asian cuisine type place. Yeah. Went to town.
I do think that, the originality of the food truck to me was that they're not renting a restaurant. It's a lot cheaper to have the truck than a standalone restaurant, that one would think the food would be a touch cheaper. And the prices that food trucks charge are every bit the same, and in some cases a little bit more than a restaurant. And that, I have a bone of contention with that. I love the food truck. I just think everything's gotten more expensive. I get it, but they are in line with every restaurant. They're not any cheaper.
I'm totally with you.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Thanks so much for being with us. We've had 3 poll questions today. One involved the Dolphins players-only meeting on Tuesday, which we found out about yesterday. Do you think that this rallies the troops and they're going to win? Or do you think that means, oh, man, are they in trouble? They're cooked. They're going to lose. So that's our one poll question. The other, 17.5's the number. Miami, South Florida. Which side you on? Laying the points, taking the points. 7.5's the number in Baton Rouge. Gators and LSU. Which side you on? Taking the points, laying the points. Those are our three poll questions. At that, Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X.
Go vote, for crying out loud. Our voting's down today, and we haven't talked about the questions a lot because obviously there has been a lot of football to get to. But right now, Arkansas and Vandy, the two leaders in the upsets. The U fans come out, David. That was a lot stronger to take the points early in the show, and they still lead 55-45, but that's closing in. But the Dolphins team meeting, 83% of you say they are cooked and it's a loss. And I know for a fact that Miller and Moulton both voted the other way because we both picked the Dolphins and laid the 1.5.
Tua 7-0 against the Patriots in his career. Although he's never beaten Vrabel, he was 0-2 against Vrabel when he was with the Titans.
Hey, we'll get into these games more on Monday just so we get them on the record. I'm not letting you cheat me again like you did last week on Monday night. Tampa Bay or Houston, who you got?
You're just bitter because you took the Bears and I took the Vikings and I ended up being right. If I had, just because I waited till Monday to make my pick, if I'd gotten it wrong, you would have been fine with it. In fact, you might have insisted I waited till Monday for the rest of the year. I like Houston. I think Tampa Bay's makeshift offensive line not going to be able to handle the Texans up front.
I'm with you. Oh, sorry.
And I'll just say this. Bucks need to prove to me they have a pass rush this week. Not a send 6 guys get a pass rush, but this offensive line is struggling. I want to see Tampa take advantage of it. I don't know that they do. All right. I like the Texans close.
Tampa will need to get some takeaways. They dropped balls that would have made the game, like Roy Cummings talked about, a lot easier. The same D-back dropped 2 easy interceptions. But when the season started and I looked at these 2 games, I thought the Bucs were going to be 1-1 after 2 games. And I thought the most important game was getting Atlanta. They got Atlanta. I'm not saying it's a letdown, but I'm with David. This makeshift offensive line scares me for the Bucs against an elite Houston pass rush. And then which team goes 2-0? The Chargers or the Raiders?
Well, the Chargers are the better team. Even though the Raiders are much improved from last year, I don't think the Raiders this year are at the level the Chargers were last year. And based on week 1, the Chargers have a higher ceiling than I thought. I thought the Chargers were going to take a half a step back this year, go from 11 wins to 9 or 10. Credit Jim Harbaugh. Last year, he played like he did at Michigan the last few years. Week 1 against Kansas City, he said, I've been thinking about it this offseason. Our best player is Justin Herbert. Why don't I put the game in his hands? And boy, Mark, for a team that we questioned, they were kind of signing veterans at skill positions on the fly. And boy, did they have any trouble offensively? And did they have any trouble defensively? We questioned their pass rush, particularly from the edge. Did they have any trouble getting pressure week 1?
I'm with you in taking the Chargers. My Tim Brando fly in the ointment on this game, however, is remember what Pat Kirwan said last week and why he picked the Raiders. The rookie tackle against Max Crosby. What are the Chargers missing? Their key left tackle. Does Max Crosby have a big game getting a pass rush against Herbert?
Now, what's interesting is Max, kind of like TJ Watt, usually lines up against the right tackle.
I know, but do they move him?
Exactly. Will they move him to try to get the matchup?
So that's my little, if that happens and Crosby gets a rush, that would make the game a little differently. It's a football Friday. It's what we focus on mostly, but I've got to give 5 minutes or so, 4 minutes to baseball. Couple of things going on. David has been in not fan panic mode. He knows the history of the team. He knows what they do. The Mets now have a 1.5 game lead over both the Reds and the Giants for the final wild card spot. You mentioned earlier the Reds schedule. They have the Athletics this weekend. Good news for Miller and Moulton, particularly Miller, who has overs on both the Athletics and the Reds. One of them's going to get a hell of a lot closer by the time we get to Monday. But, David, when we come back on Monday, will the Mets still be holding on to the final wild card spot?
Ooh. By the way, a sneaky little game tonight, Texas at Citi Field, Jacob deGrom facing the Mets. And
Mets
the
are
Rangers,
favored.
And the Rangers have won 4 in a row, while the Mets have lost 6 in a row. How in the world can the Mets be favored tonight? Don't you have to bet deGrom and the Rangers tonight?
Yes,
I
do.
The Mets are starting a guy who's making, I think, his 3rd career start. Now, don't get me wrong. Okay, he's been lights out.
He's a stud. He's a stud.
Okay, I mean, he's thrown 11 innings. He literally gave up 1 gopher ball, and that's why his ERA is what it is. But, I mean, come on. Mark, I think the Mets will have a half-game lead, but they'll be tied in the loss column.
And it probably will be with the Reds, the Giants hosting the Dodgers. Yamamoto and Verlander on the bump tonight in that one.
First of 7 meetings down the stretch between the Dodgers and Giants. But if you're rooting against the Mets, the Reds own the tiebreaker. So while, yes, the Giants are also a game and a half back, they have the harder schedule and they don't have the tiebreaker. The Reds have the easier schedule and have the tiebreaker.
Houston's at Atlanta. We've already said Texas is at the Mets, and Seattle is hosting the Angels. When we come back on Monday, what will the AL West look like, and who will be the leader in the wild card race? Mariners tied with the Astros. The Rangers are 2 back.
Well, Texas is going to take 2 or 3 from the Mets, but that won't be enough to be tied for the wild card. So, I think the Seattle Mariners have a 1-game lead on Monday, too. And Houston has a 1-game lead on Texas for the final wild card spot. I will say this, Yankees, Red Sox this weekend, I believe Boston is only 2 games ahead. I mean, they're identical. They have the same record. I believe they're only 2 games ahead of Seattle and Houston, which means that these teams can't fall apart is what we're saying. We're saying if Texas is on the heels of both Seattle and Houston, well, the Yankees and Red Sox are only 2 games ahead. So basically, they both need to not get swept this weekend is what we're saying.
The other thing is if one of them sweeps, we've talked about this a few times. The Baltimore Orioles, since the middle of May, have played really good baseball. Baltimore's in Toronto, and they're red hot right now. So I am just, as the Yankees and Red Sox are battling one another, will they get the help they need from the O's on the road in Toronto this weekend?
Orioles 10 games above 500 since May 20th, yet they're in last place because they were 16-34 to start the year.
I didn't allow David to have any time in the normal baseball hour at 6 a.m., so I had to give him a few minutes there. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when what's on tap? Next.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters, Floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
Come on, of all the things you expected of me at 9:30 in the morning, did you think I was going baseball there?
No. Thrilled.
Thought we kind of had to. I started looking at the weekend schedule and went, there's a lot of series. And I didn't even mention, if somehow the Giants do well against the Dodgers, you know who San Diego's got this weekend? Colorado.
Dodgers on the tiebreaker against the Padres.
I will say the one thing about the Utah thing and all that, I wonder how many people will realize that they have freedom of speech, but as we've always said, it is not without repercussions.
Right. Right. We protect your ability to say it. We don't protect you from catching grief.
Or getting
for
fired.
saying
Like
it.
someone brought up the Panthers guys, the teachers, the politicians. It's like, I actually saw a Bernie Sanders thing on it. It was, he obviously had it written and spoke with a teleprompter, but even if you don't like the guy, if you listen to what he said, that's appropriate. He handled that perfectly. So I always am checking for the good, the bad, and ugly stories throughout the show. And there's a story on Wink News about a Lee County couple wanting from stealing from Target, and they've got a photo. You can't see either faces, but the woman is like a 48 triple E with a full sleeve arm tattoo. How long is it going to take to find her? Just saying. Maybe you wanted to wear sleeves that day or a coat that covered up your cleavage. I don't know. You know, Tim, that is a good point. The Bucks are not the best primetime team, are they?
No.
That's a great point. Didn't even think about that. Still went Houston, but that didn't enter into the equation for me.
There we go. Now we're talking. Indy to Houston, Houston to Jacksonville, both of them at the front of the plane.
Look at you. Look at you, big dog. Go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. It's the home stretch. This is it. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X, just for this week. We don't want to scare, we've been fired so many times. I know it scares our audience when we're planning on being back Monday.
In fact, all of our affiliates are planning on having us
right.
back too.
Right. So I don't want to scare anybody that, it doesn't mean this is it for us. It just means the end of the show and the week. That's all. See you Monday. I'll be in Houston.
Yeah, don't scare my guy in Tampa running the board right now.
Right.
I don't. He doesn't need that right.
He's like, wait, we just got you back.
Folks at 1010 Florida Alumni Radio in Tampa and St. Pete. Happy to have them on board with the Miller and Moulton show. Fired up to be back in Tampa. Always love our audience in Jacksonville and obviously our home base here in Southwest Florida.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
They probably build it like we would bill it a skiing Scooble matchup today. We start 1911, the final time that Cy Young and Christy Mathewson went at it. Mathewson would get the win, 11-2. Today in 1940, 4 teens follow their dog down a hole in France and discover 17,000-year-old drawings, now known as the Lacasse cave paintings. Brooklyn clinched the NL pennant earlier than any other team today in 1953, defeating the Milwaukee Braves. They would finish the season at 105-49. Jackie and JFK got married today in 53 in Newport, Rhode Island. The Supreme Court orders Central High School in Little Rock to integrate today in 1958. Today in 1959, Bonanza premieres on NBC TV. A Fistful of Dollars premiered today in 64. It started the spaghetti western genre and starred Clint Eastwood. The Monkees TV show made its debut today in 66. One of the many spin-offs of All in the Family, Maude, started today in 72. Pink Floyd released Wish You Were Here today in 1975, and The Wizard of Oz has never been the same since. I don't know where you would put it. I don't think it's necessarily underrated, but it is slightly to me. David, I might even call this the Gary Player of sitcoms. Taxi debuted today in 1978.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, the whole cast was great.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, Lodka, Andy Kaufman doing Lodka. Jim was just Jim filling out the form for the driver's license is one of the all-time best scenes in television history. Slow down. What does a yellow light mean? I'm telling you, I could watch it on a loop. Yaz got hit 3,000 today in 1979 just because I love doing this. I wouldn't give odds to my wife on this, but I have a feeling David Moulton knows who he hit it off of. Who did Yaz get his 3,000th hit on?
No, I don't know that one at all.
All right, it was the Yankees' Jim Beattie. The Smurfs debuted in North America today in 81. Edberg beats Chang in a 5-set epic match today in 92. It was the longest match in U.S. Open history until 2024. A 5-setter, 6-7, 7-5, 7-6, 5-7, 6-4.
Now, that was the semis, correct?
Yes.
Okay, because here's the thing. Edberg came back the very next day and I think beat Sampras in the final. I mean, that's what Super Saturday used to be. It was the two men's semis and the women's final in between. And then the winner of the semis obviously came back the very next day and played in the final. They determined, it's too grueling on the players. You can't do that. Okay, I remember McEnroe beat Connors one year. I think it was 84. He beat him at like midnight. He had to come back 16 hours later and play Lendl.
So what you're saying is load management essentially began at the U.S. Open.
Well, no, because they still play. They just needed more rest. But yes, well done, Mark. Well done.
Today in 1995, in the third game of an 11-game exhibition series in Europe, the Globetrotters would lose for the first time since 1971. It was a team of retired basketball stars led by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, named Kareem's All-Stars. The Globetrotters lose in an unscripted game by 6.
Did you see what the winning streak was? 8,829 consecutive wins.
Agassi wins his final U.S. title today in 99, beating Todd Martin in 5 sets. It was today in 2003 that we lost Johnny Cash at the age of 71. The Lions in 04 beat the Bears at Soldier Field to end their record 24-game road losing streak. David may have cried today if he heard it live because in 2005, Mark Messier announced his retirement from the NHL.
I need a moment, Mark. It's only been 20 years. I need a moment.
I understand. And Joker wins his first U.S. Open title, beating Rafi today in 4 sets in 2011. Jesse Owens, country singer George Jones, the incomparable Barry White, road warrior Animal, Paul Walker, and arguably the greatest drummer ever, Neil Peart from Rush, would have all celebrated birthdays today. Linda Gray, you may not know that name, but when I tell you who she is, you'll know. That's Sue Ellen. She's 85. Mickey Lolich is 85. Chip Beck and Ricky Rudd are both 69. Wilfred Benitez, 67. Vernon Maxwell is 60. And if you ever see any clips of him in a podcast, stop what you're doing and listen. Angel Cabrera is 56. Yao Ming, 45. Jennifer Hudson's 44. And Andrew Luck is 36 years old today. What did I miss, David?
Did you have the Entourage one?
I did not.
Entourage debuted today, 21 years ago.
Great show.
You and I were big fans. Yeah.
Great show. I rewatched it recently. It's a terrific show. Hey, the good guy wins every time. That's what the show's about. One dark season, a little bit. And they did it because things in the world weren't going well, and they didn't want to celebrate actors, and the audience hated it. They're like, no. We want to see beautiful people. We want to see them happy. We want to see them winning.
By the way, Sue Ellen, okay, that was a great television character because A, she's the attractive wife, but B, she's being constantly cheated on. She's aware of it. She's cheating back and she's giving him attitude. It was a great character.
My mom still is a wonderful looking lady. My mom was a great looking woman when she was younger. She looked like Sue Ellen, and my neighbors the kids that I played with were relentless on me about calling my mom Sue Ellen.
And did you ever have the guts to come home, look at your father and go, and you're no Larry Hagman, okay, Fred?
Fred wasn't a bad looking guy himself, but Mom even went and got the Sue Ellen do.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What do you got, Mark?
Well, today we go to Florida for the good, where officers responding to an injured cat in North Carolina picked up the cat, brought it to the shelter. But because the smart family from Boynton Beach had their cat microchipped, they found their missing cat 900 miles from home. For the bad, we go to St. Louis, where Jeffrey Lewis was helping with his father's roommate, a 78-year-old man with limited hearing and sight. Well, Jeffrey didn't help him that much. What Jeffrey did was steal over $200,000 from him, using most of it at a strip joint. What he didn't use at a strip joint, he apparently was buying gifts for strippers, because a Louis Vuitton store and a Hazelberg diamond store were among the places that he used the $200,000 of stolen money to purchase items. Finally, the ugly, we come back a little closer to home and go to Port St. Lucie, where an employee installing a concrete fiber optics box on an easement was approached by a woman and demanded that he give her a permit. He showed her the permit, but told her he could not give her a physical copy. At that point, she became very agitated with him and said, "Don't play with me. I'll go get my axe and chop you." Followed it up with, "You better leave. I have a gun. I'm going to go get it if you don't leave." She fueled a few more violent insults at him before police showed up. Also told the employee that this is my property. I can put a bomb here if I want. She was taken to jail. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Friday, September the 12th, here on Miller and Moulton.
All right. College football tonight. You got one ranked team playing tonight. If you watch this game, we need to talk. And that's coming from us. All right. Mark, a pretty big sports fan, and I am a fully accredited goober of a sports fan. But if you are watching Indiana host Indiana State on the Big Ten Network tonight at 6:30, we need to talk.
Wait a minute. Did you say 6:30?
This is not Big East basketball. It's not 2 hours. It won't end till 10. You are a sucker. I'm telling you. First, your TV network was going to be Miller in the morning. You show all the sports that take place before noon. I'm telling you, you might need an early bird sports channel. That might actually be more your true love.
Right. Happy hour sports with Mark Miller.
ESPN at 7:30. I'll be curious. Are people still watching Dion in Colorado? Because
that I'm most curious about. I really and truly am, because he doesn't have Hunter. He doesn't have his kid there. So
Right.
Are they still paying attention? Because they're not that good.
Well, they're certainly not expected to be that good. They lost at home to Georgia Tech. They're 1-1, but they are a 4.5-point underdog at Houston at 7:30 tonight on the Four Letter Network. If you want the best game of the night, 9 o'clock on Big Fox, Kansas State at Arizona. K-State's off to a very disappointing 1-2 start. And this game's a virtual pick'em. K-State by 1.5. This season goes horribly awry for the Wildcats if they lose this game. That would be what? 2 conference losses in September, because they've already lost, obviously, to Iowa State. Now they're coming off a home loss against Army, but that's not a conference loss. All right. This is a big game for K-State tonight. This is, you lose this game, the kids are on the phone arranging where they're playing next year. This could become a 3-9 season for K-State because they just all go south.
Right. Yeah. They lose this game, there's no shot to get to the Big 12 title. I mean, I guess 2 losses, you could run the table, but it's highly unlikely if they're losing games at Arizona.
So we started to talk a little bit about it at the end of last segment. Baseball, Yankees, Red Sox, they're tied in the standings. Red Sox on the tiebreaker because of head-to-head. That's important because right now these 2 teams would meet in the first round of a best of 3. So Yankees really need to take 2 out of 3 because they've got to finish ahead of Boston to host that series. Also, they're both 3 games back of the Jays. And as we mentioned, the Jays don't have an easy series because Baltimore's been 10 games over 500 for 3 months now, 4 months, and Baltimore's in Toronto.
They are playing golf today, and 10 of the 12 Ryder Cup players are playing in Napa. So a little primetime golf as well if you want to get primed up for the Ryder Cup in a couple of weeks.
And the stories are out, baby. The hype machine is a-cooking. Mark, there's never been a Team USA tighter, loved each other more than this group. Already, Keegan Bradley, greatest captain in U.S. Ryder Cup history.
Yeah, it's kind of like that Mike Tyson line. Let's see how they do in 4-ball on that Friday. Miller and Moulton, enjoy the football. We'll be back Monday, 6 a.m.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, your home for all the football and baseball that September provides, plus a nightly food special. Got bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays, live music Fridays, karaoke Saturdays. Never mind the fact that Shoeless Joe's is going to celebrate Grandparents' Day, National Hot Dog Day, National Cheeseburger Day, all in the month of September. Food and drink specials during every NFL game. Shoeless Joe's, the official home for Ohio State football. Shoeless Joe's, good food, good times, good sports in the Doubletree by Hilton. Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters, floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today.
239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton.
This is Miller and Moulton